Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Counterculture. The idea of this podcast is to catch the conversations that are had when we're not podcasting. Basically, they're the same things, only without focus. This podcast is an experiment. We hope you stick with it to hear how it evolves. Who knows? Maybe we'll actually make something out of nothing. This episode was recorded at the Blue Box Cafe in Elgin, Illinois. We recorded it sitting at a table in the middle of the restaurant with a simple MP3 recorder. What you hear here is a completely organic conversation between Martha, Molly, Chris, and Rob, myself. We hope you like it.
Oh, it's so good and gooey.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the French press.
Yeah.
And I might not like the Chemex as much.
Well, you know what? No, the Chemex it's just a different way to...
What's a Chemex? Is that a brand?
Chemex it's basically made out of, a scientist made it out of beakers, and then they made...
From the Muppet Show? That's amazing.
From the beakers, yes.
I wouldn't want to... It's like that coffee that they filter through the animals.
Exactly.
It's filtered through beaker?
Filtered through beaker, yes. No, actually, it looks like a beaker. It looks like a science beaker that they put a filter in it and make coffee.
Yeah.
I think some scientist came up with it, and I would bet it's Swedish. I don't know for sure. But they just came up with the idea.
What do you think it's Swedish?
It's just because that's what
the Swedish are like.
The Swedish are like. I think somebody was just interested in making coffee and said, I have a beaker. It's like a Mr. Coffee. You pour the water over, and it is, but you're making an individual cup or an individual...
Is it like...
Bunch of cups.
Those coffee bars where they have, I don't know if you've seen these, where... You just put the filter and then they just pour the hot water right over it.
Right.
That's in general.
It's really clean.
That's called a V60, and when you make it, the difference between that and like a Mr. Coffee is you take care and you make an individual cup or a pot of coffee for that moment.
Yeah.
And you don't let it sit, and then you use better coffee and better technique. The key is keeping the water balanced and poured evenly over the grounds, and it filters through it quickly. And
Sure.
Here, you can give me your cheese.
There's your cheese.
What is everybody eating today?
Oh, I have the
Molly and I had
Italian.
ham.
But my first time with the Italian, this is fantastic.
yeah, good.
Fantastic.
I like it. I'm just having some ham, so.
You're having
I
ham
don't know
too?
why ham looked good, so I just cut it, so I figured I'll have some.
Yeah, ham looked good to me too, with salami on it and
Yeah, mortadella,
Yep.
more ham with more ham. So
I'd like to order my ham with some extra ham, please. Yeah, you know what? I'm interested to try it. Do you actually serve with the Chemex here ever?
yeah, we do. We have one. We can do it. It's just, it takes time. It's a little bit more specialized, and like the thing you were talking about. Those are called V60s.
Yeah.
They're like little ceramic. They look like coffee cups, but they have holes in them.
Right.
And they have a ridge, and it keeps the. It's all about getting the water through the coffee as quickly or as consistently as possible to get a better cup of coffee. Because just like anything,
Because my sister-in-law, they go to a place they're in Canada.
sure.
So
They're in Vancouver.
and they go to a coffee bar that has, they said it's like a wooden bar, and they have holes in it,
Right.
and that's how you do it.
Sure.
And she said the coffee is amazing.
Sure.
I'm always interested in those things,
It's just a more specialized. It's like somebody makes that cup of coffee just for you, so it's more gourmet, and you can get it all different kinds, and they have different, depending on the different roasted coffee, they have different grinds of the coffee, and they use different temperature water. It gets really scientific, and people spend a lot of time doing that.
Probably Swedish.
Probably Swedish. No, I'm just thinking. I think the Chemex thing, for some reason, it's a Swedish company that I think sells it, so I thought it was from there, but I don't know. Or something I heard. It's random. Probably win me money on Jeopardy one day. So
Let's hope.
that's the way I look at it. So yeah, but in terms of that, they have shrimp coffee all different ways. And I can't think of the process, but there's Chinese way that has like literally they do it like in a big tube and it drips the water through the filter.
Yes.
And it's just about
Is that
it's
the
cleaner.
one?
So
Is that the one? Have you seen the one that looks like a big glass bowl, and then it has the really thin tube, and it drips out at the end?
that's what that is. Yes.
Yeah, that
that's
thing's
it.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
expensive.
They're
too.
expensive. And then they have one. It's called a siphon that they do at some places around here. That it's basically like a.
A siphon.
Well, it's a siphon, but you heat up the water and it sucks up the water through. It's almost like the Italian espresso
Oh,
machine.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Where the water, the steam of the water rises up and
I have one of those, the Borelli or whatever, that
Probably.
Italian espresso
Yes.
one where it's the metal.
metal pot,
Okay,
right?
but hang on.
That thing is
The
fantastic
siphon
too.
is like a beaker thing. It's like you light the water on fire. You light the water, heat the water. It steams. It goes up into the chamber with the coffee, or through the chamber with the coffee into a separate chamber and makes a clean pot of coffee for us.
Okay, so I have a weird reference now because you said siphon.
Okay.
Do you guys back in the 70s?
Yes, the siphon in the
Siphon
snow.
in the Snow. Did you
Yes.
have to watch that movie in school about the boy and he
I'm sure I did.
He
I
died
can't-
in the snow.
I just remember him like falling out of the school
Yeah,
bus.
he
and,
fell
like,
out of the school bus and died in the snow because he was
That's an after-school
malnourished
special.
or he was
Because he opened the window
But we
below
had
the
to
red
watch
the
it in
line,
school.
so he fell out
Right.
the window. That was only yes.
See, we told
We
you.
told you.
So sorry. There we go.
Is that like
that was
blood
my
in,
bizarre
is that
reference.
like Blood in the Highway?
Except not.
The famous Driver's Ed movie.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was always good. So.
That was my way of
It was
getting us
always
to
good.
stop talking
So
about coffee.
it didn't quite have the effect on you.
No.
that-
Siphon in the Snow. I didn't think you'd remember.
Please. I can't remember the kids in the class names, but I can remember.
The kids in the class.
I just taught a class, and I couldn't remember the names of the kids who I see
Was
all
that
the
before
time.
kids in the hall? Kids in the class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're head of the class.
Head of the class. There you go.
We can do that
Anytime.
one. Kids in the hall.
Wait, head of the class, isn't that the one with the guy I like?
John Hessman?
No,
Head of the class?
John Heston?
Howard Heston.
Howard Heston,
Oh
sorry.
my God.
I like Howard
I was
Heston.
thinking John Houseman.
No, I'm-
That's
John
Paper
Houseman,
Chase.
could you imagine?
That's right.
I was thinking of the guy who I like, the Scottish guy.
Billy Connolly?
Billy Connolly.
Right.
He had
He
a
was-
class?
Head
He
of the
second
class was
class.
that.
No.
It was Mike
Howard-
Tyson's wife.
Howard
What was
Hess-
her name?
Robin Gibbons?
Robin Gibbons.
No, Howard Hessman did it originally, then he left and
Yes.
they brought Billy Connolly in.
Are you kidding? I never watched that show, but I like
Billy
Oh,
Connolly.
yeah.
both of those
He's
guys.
fantastic.
Billy Connolly's so great.
On your face.
And you know, people, I've heard, I was actually listening to a podcast recently, they were talking about the sequel to the X-Files movie. And they were kind of ripping on Billy Connolly, and they're like, "That didn't make sense that he was in it." I thought he was great in that
Right.
movie. It wasn't a great movie,
No. Not by.
but he was excellent, and it was still Mulder and Scully, so it's still gonna, you know my scale. It started at 4 stars, has to work its way back. Billy Connolly,
Bumped it up to 5.
he
To
adds a
5-star.
star as soon as he's there. I always like him. And did you see? I'm sure you did. Boondock Saints.
Yes, of course.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
so great in that. And the sequel was
Okay, wait,
not
who's in
good,
that? What's that
and he
one?
was still great in it.
I
Boondock
know I
Saints.
saw that movie.
You didn't see the sequel. That's the one about the 2 Irish brothers that are avenging the death, and then the father. The whole time you think that, spoiler, you think the father is he's an assassin, and it turns out to be it's Billy Connolly's this assassin, and you're like the whole time you're thinking, oh, this is gonna be trouble when he gets there, and it turns out he's their dad.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really great. Spoiler.
You've never seen a movie from 5 years ago.
Well, you know, we should come up with a statute of limitations on when you have to say spoiler and when you don't, because I always feel like everything, if it's within a week of it airing, can
We
we
make
just
Cinemax or Encore.
Once it hits
Once it
Encore,
hits Encore, you're
no
done.
more spoilers.
No more spoilers. Because it's been on 500 times on every other channel. So
right? Okay, that's
once it
fair.
hits, regular TV, once it's on late night,
Once it's on regular TV, all bets are off.
all bets are out.
So when we talk about Jaws, I don't have to say
Or
spoiler
there's a
anymore.
sequel. How about that? Once
There
they
you
make a
go.
sequel, you're done. Once they make a sequel, you're done. Or
Or Encore, or
Encore.
So when we
regular
talk
TV.
about Walking Dead from last week,
That was
That's a
on
problem.
regular.
Oh yes,
that's a problem.
But-
it is the best.
We
freaking
should be
show.
able to talk about it when it hits Netflix.
sure.
You know?
I think Netflix is a good.
Well, yeah, but now Netflix has all these original shows. So like,
Yeah, but hold
Orange
on.
is the New Black.
No,
you
no, we're
can't
talking
really-
about shows
There's
that.
no spoiler on there. They put the whole season on there one time. So
Oh, that's true.
Right, then maybe
I'll
you gotta
give you
go.
that.
Once it's been on Netflix for a week, I think it's fair game.
Good. Let's have it. Let's go, Tom. Boy. Good.
Yeah, and their original series, I guess, you just got to wait a week or so. But, on our shows, we joke about saying spoiler for this stuff. But really, if you're listening to a show about, like this show is geeky stuff.
Right. If you're listening to the
spoil
show
with your
about The
friends.
Last Walking Dead and they talk about spoilers, that's your own, I hate to say that's your own issue. So.
Well, that's
Right.
why we can't do it on here, because then people won't. They're not listening to this thinking they're going to hear about Walking Dead. But I'm
Right.
going to talk about it. And Better Call Saul.
Better
God,
Call
I love
Saul.
that show.
I haven't seen the last couple. I just haven't had time.
Oh my gosh,
So I can spoiler you.
It's okay.
it's
I'll
great.
forget tomorrow, so I'll be
Yeah,
okay.
that's how I
Yeah,
am.
every time I listen to these shows and they're like, spoiler alert, I never remember what they said.
No.
No.
So-
do
Hey,
you?
the ending of Titanic still surprises me.
Yeah.
What? The ship goes down? What? Are you kidding me? The ship goes down in Titanic?
Wait, they
Not in the
died?
sequel.
People died.
People die?
Did you hear the weird theory that's going on? There's always these fan theories that float around. There's a fan theory about Titanic that hit this week, that it's all Rose's, it's all a dream from the Rose character. Jack never existed, and the whole thing.
What's
and
the
then,
point?
Well, it's bizarre, but I'm like, who's even thinking that? It's just what it is.
Let's watch the movie.
Yeah. The other one that hit this week was that The Simpsons is entirely a dream in Homer's head. And as soon as you watch it with that perspective, I was reading an article that said it works in so many ways that it kind of breaks the show.
So you're saying Matt
Did you eat my
Groening-
chips?
Yes.
I don't have any chips
Is
left.
Matt,
Share.
is Matt Groening then therefore Homer
That
Simpson?
means you ate.
Because it is all made up.
It's
in
all
his
made
head.
up. Yeah, sure. Or
So
Sam
he'd
Simon.
be the
or-
ultimate Homer.
We're at Boo.
My cousin
Are you
looks
done
like
with that? You want
I
me to
am.
clear your-
That's
I take
cool.
that. Yeah, because it looks
All
just
a
like
dream.
Homer. And he bowls.
Does he have the line hair?
And he works in a nuclear power plant.
Does he?
But he's really
That would be
smart.
fantastic.
But
No,
he's really
that is,
smart.
that is
That's the weird
absolutely
thing.
true. He
That
is.
That would be fantastic. So,
Now, and he had one kid though. He didn't have.
Yeah, right.
didn't have three that never ate.
Well, he has
They're still in
step
seventh
kids.
Right.
He has step kids that might count. So
I don't think we have to be quite as literal.
2 girls and a boy.
He's just
Oh
home.
no, 4, 2 boys.
Martha's his biographer. So
I'm over
she's,
here going. I'm Rain Man.
I think,
I'm over here going.
after 5 matches, that's
rocking.
similar enough to a cartoon character. So,
Okay.
When he did chop off a finger just to make himself look more like Homer. So. No, that's me.
wait.
Oh. I was trying to think what we were talking about the
Siphon
other
in the
day.
snow?
Well, there's that. Now, I'm really going to go home and I got to try to YouTube that. But
No, you don't. That's like when I
Molly
got you.
needs to see it if I'm
I got you,
homeschooling her. I got
This
to
is what
make
you're
sure
missing.
she
See,
sees.
you don't go to
Yeah.
public school.
I got
And
you
this is
Sunshine
Joe's
Christmas.
heart. Do you
I haven't
remember?
seen you watching
no,
that
that's
over and
because
over.
it's painful. This is Joe's heart. It was a school movie that
That was
they,
a Disney film. Disney made it.
This is Joe's,
Joe's
heart. And then the guy goes to work and then he has a heart. They show him eating crap and doing all this stuff, and then he has a heart attack, and then they're showing what's going on in his
Remember the
body.
Schoolhouse Rocks.
Oh, that's
Those are the
awesome. We own
best.
those, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Those are the best. You know, I actually, we were listening to it the one night, and before we had Molly, so this tells you what dorks we are. And I really noticed that the music in that has inspired a whole generation.
Of what? Of Schoolhouse Rock?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear the way the songs are constructed, the approach to the music.
Oh, sure.
It seems like people in kind of our age bracket, all these bands like Wilco
sure.
and Fleet Foxes, kind of affected by that.
Oh, yeah.
It's
What was it?
funny.
I would say yeah, because I mean, it was that kind of 70s-ish, kind of
Oh,
not
it's
70s
just
music. It was
classic.
great. So,
Well, and
Yeah.
it got how many exams did it get us through?
but
Sitting there going, okay, wait a second, how did this one work?
I'm-
Okay,
I'm
this
just a
song
bill.
goes like this. Okay,
how does I Miss the Bill go? So,
Yeah. Right.
but we were the other day.
I still count to 3 by using 3 as the magic number.
Molly wrote this. She wrote a pledge, a geek pledge, and she came down at night and said, "Could you write this down?" And it was, state your name, and then I swear to
state your name.
Molly. What
Yeah,
was
that's
it?
it.
Yeah, that's what we
well,
were
what
doing.
she did was we
What
did
was
it
the
on
pledge?
a Geek My Kids live.
Okay, cool.
But-
We wrote one that had I state your name,
But
she took it and
she
ran
wrote
with it.
it.
and
Okay,
it's really
so
good.
so she says.
State state your name.
Yeah.
I swear on Blackbeard's beard. I mean Metalbeard's beard.
Okay, so stop there for a moment. Because I said, who's Metalbeard? What are you talking about? Now, I have seen the Lego movie no less than 4 times. I have no idea what they're... And then they go, he's in the Lego movie. No, doesn't ring a bell. And then, like, a big pirate ship. It's like the whole point of the movie. I go,
It's
nope,
Nick Offerman.
got nothing. And he's like, come on, it's Ron Swanson. I go, nope, nothing.
Shark? What? Jaws?
Don't.
Wait, there's a shark.
There's a
So,
boat
Chris,
involved?
I feel ya on that when you say, you don't remember.
There's some things I just-
But for me, it was, I have seen this movie at least 4 times in the last 6 months. And
Right.
I had no concept
No
of
idea.
who's Metalbeard.
Okay.
So,
Well, seeing it.
you want to finish the
finish the
pledge?
pledge.
I'll say it again.
Okay.
I swear on Metalbeard's beard to live long and prosper with all 6 ponies and the creature from the Black Lagoon. Alonzi.
There you go. That was her
You know what?
pledge. that
Done.
she wrote.
Well, you know where we got the idea to do the pledge was
His tenants is Alonzi.
yes,
I knew that.
was from what was it called? Monster Vision, the Joe Bob Briggs show.
Okay.
You know who Joe Bob Briggs is?
The
He used to-
drive-in reviews.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he used
okay,
to
yeah.
host drive-in reviews.
okay, yeah.
That's what it was, not Monster Vision. He did drive-in reviews. And he wrote all these great things. I actually got to see him, went to an outdoor drive-in. He was there, he introduced it, and he did this drive-in pledge that I found it in one of his books. And it was the same kind of thing. Like, it was hilarious. It was awesome. I always look back on that. Like, I actually did the drive-in pledge with Joe Bob
Right.
Briggs. Like, he's the guy.
Exactly.
So we took that idea and said, let's do it to Geek My Kids. And that's where that came from.
That's neat. That's a good idea.
We pledged it on Spielberg's beard. What did you pledge it on?
Metalbeard.
Metalbeard's beard?
How about Indiana Jones's hat?
When we were at the Indianapolis Children's Museum, they had movie props, and they had a thing of, they had the tiki
Right.
from Indiana Jones, the gold tiki.
Gold tiki, yeah.
They had the whip, the hat.
Nice.
They had Christopher Reeve's Superman costume.
I need to see that.
You were there.
And they
I need to go
had
again.
the
I forgot it.
Michael Keaton Batman costume. They didn't have I thought they'd have the Adam West, but they had the Michael
Right.
Keaton.
That's not a bad one to have, though. That was pretty
No,
good.
please, it's awesome. Did you see on the only one you don't want is the one with the nipples? Did you see?
Clooney one, right?
No. Oh yeah, the
It was
Clooney
It
one.
was
Yeah,
Clooney.
Clooney had the nipples?
yeah. He was
Not
cold.
Keaton?
He was cold. No.
Kilmer's was good. I mean, Christian Bale's was
I
fantastic.
you
don't
know-
like Val Kilmer.
You know who directed that was
I
Joel
can't
Schumacher. Remember I always
stand
talks about that? We did a show last night. We started.
Did you say George Schumacher?
Yeah. We fell into a rabbit hole, as we often do. We were talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter and all that. And we
You're
ended up.
enough said.
Yeah, we spent about 10 minutes talking about the Wiz. Remember the Wiz?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I looked it up while we were talking about it because Sidney Lumet directed the movie. Sidney Lumet is, I mean, Dog Day Afternoon, that's all you gotta say. I mean,
Yeah.
amazing, right? But he directed The
That was a
Wiz.
little movie. That was a little movie.
Do you know who wrote it?
No,
Joel Schumacher. I was like, no wonder the Tin Man had nipples.
that's right.
And the Tin Man, wasn't that Nipsey Russell in that movie? You remember? I saw it at
No,
the
it
theater.
wasn't Nipsey. No, it wasn't Nipsey. It was.
It was Nipsey Russell
Was
was in
it?
that. Yeah. He was the Tin Man, though, wasn't he? Because Michael Jackson was the Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
Diana Ross was
Was
Dorothy. Nipsey
Michael
Russell, I think.
Jackson?
No, was he the lion?
Was he the Lion? Who was the Tin Man then?
Scatman Crothers. No.
Oh, please.
We were talking.
And he was
about
shining. Oh, I love Scatman Crothers.
Don't ask me what I was thinking. We were thinking it was.
You were talking Hong Kong Phooey? Remember when he was on that? He was
Number one super.
That was back.
He was the best.
Kids don't know what they missed from that
No.
whole generation
Of
There-
Scatman Crothers?
no, cartoons.
Oh,
the whole Hong Kong
Saturday
Phooey,
morning.
the whole Hanna-Barbera,
Yep.
the whole,
Well, and the
all the same cartoon but different.
and there was also the Crofts. I was going to say Seals and Crofts, but the Croft, Sid and Marty Croft.
Oh, yeah, Seals and Crows. We could go there.
Yeah.
That's not.
And I actually just read that. I think there's a Kickstarter or no. Take that back. I think Netflix just made a deal with. Do we own Netflix? Because apparently they're getting ideas out of our heads. They made a deal with the Crofts to do like a new like Sigmund Sea Monster
Get outta here.
type, like one of their
They
crazy
could never do that now because
Lidsville Sigmund Sea Monster.
You'd have to take
H.R.
some
Puffin
major
stuff.
drugs.
Oh, yeah.
HR Puff and stuff. We tried to rent once back when Blockbuster existed, but way before Molly, so that was embarrassing.
Yeah,
But
all these
we-
stories are really embarrassing because we
but-
didn't have kids.
Yeah, but we went and rented HR Puff and stuff and sat there trying to watch it. We could not get through. Oh my gosh,
Oh, it was
it was
terrible.
such a train wreck.
Try and get
I've gotta
this
watch
Snort
that.
Hotel.
Oh,
Watch it
yeah.
and
Oh,
see
Giggle
it.
Snort's
I loved
awesome.
Giggle Snort.
Oh, it's so horrible.
Now that was the one with the clay blob, and
Yes.
he put the face on it. Yes.
It would be in a dungeon. It would be
And the
in
Lemon
basement.
Drop Kid.
Lemon Drop Kid.
The Gorillas, that was always the best part. The Gorillas just come in and like go ape in there.
Not the band.
Yeah, the Gorillas, they showed up.
Now I would like it if
That
the
would be
gorillas
good.
showed up, but
They might not have been alive.
these were a different kind of gorilla.
Yeah. But that was, yeah. So I have a story about that.
What?
About Giggle Snort
About
Hotel.
BJ?
About BJ. That's another story we can't tell at Mixed Company. No, about the Giggle Snort Hotel. A friend of mine, that BJ, the host, lived in his neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
And years later, Giggle Snort's way off the air. This is when we're like high school age. So it was probably 10 years or whatever since it was off the air. He said he'd ride his bike and he said he'd always see this guy and he's looking older and all that. Still had the big stash. But he'd be out there like mowing his lawn and whatever.
Right.
And he said the one time he rode his bike and he'd always ride his bike by like, oh, there he is. You know, like how awesome. And he rode his bike by and the garage door was open. And he said in the garage, it was like, you know, a hoarder. It was all the Giggle Snort stuff.
Oh, wow.
And he said the worst part, the
Are you talking
childhood.
about somebody's garage?
Yeah, mine is a Trek.
And you're
a train
calling
wreck.
him a hoarder?
Um,
You should see our garage. with
But
this
it
guy.
had, he said his childhood
Or as I get
destroying moment was the blob was in there. So this piece of clay was like 10 years old. He said it was all like just covered in crud and it was like moldy on one side because it was sitting in this guy's damn garage for 10 years. Poor blob.
Poor Blob.
It's a bad way to go.
That was a Sunday morning fun. Get up early before
Oh
going to
my
church.
gosh.
Oh, it's the best.
I loved Giggle.
Then what the Magic Acorn? What was the other show?
Oh,
Magic
the
Door.
Magic Door.
Magic Door. Was it Magic Door?
Room zoom zoom, room zoom zoom, easy,
yeah. Come
Right.
through the
Okay.
magic
That's sad.
door.
That's the show.
That was
I
the
can still
Jewish
remember
one.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the show where I wanted to send my artwork in, and I actually, no one had to tell me. I realized they'd show the pictures of the kids that sent in their artwork, and they all had dark hair, and like they didn't look anything like me. And I was like, I don't know if this is meant for me. I don't know if this is the same, you know. But ironically, I didn't realize that when I saw The Wiz, and I said to my parents after seeing it, I can't wait. When I'm older, I'm going to be an actor, and I'm going to be in that. And they had to have the conversation with me, and I was much older than I should have been to have this
Like
conversation.
16.
Yeah,
Last week.
you're not going to be in The Wiz. There's a glaring reason you're not going to be in The Wiz. It's because I can't dance.
Because of Ted Danson.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all Ted. Damn you,
Because
Ted
Ted broke
Danson.
it.
Ted
Ted broke it for all of
Ted
us.
shattered the
Thanks, Ted Danson.
So I had this idea for us to watch every Studio Ghibli movie.
You said it right.
Of course I said it right. I'm a genius.
More genius.
So I thought, let's watch all of them and then do one podcast, just talk about them. Okay. So now we've seen, before, we had seen Ponyo and we had seen Castle in the Sky.
I thought those were the only
Kiki's
ones.
Delivery Service, you know, like all the
I thought they were
classic,
the
they're really
only
good.
ones.
So we go to the library and we get a whole stack of these things and we sit down and we start watching this one. Okay, I slept through most of that one. And then
Oh, I
the
loved
second
it.
one, Porco Rosso. Okay,
Oh.
seriously, could not.
Now we
could not
got
get
we
through
got
it.
ones that I didn't know.
But we had to get everything off
The
the
names.
list.
Right.
Yeah, but there are a couple of them like Porco Rosso. Always hear about how good it is.
No.
They didn't
lied.
like it.
They
I
lied.
actually liked it quite a bit. I thought it was really good. They didn't like it for some reason.
So I'm
It's
rethinking the whole
weird that it didn't
project
connect.
now because I can't seem to get through most
We
of them.
watched one called The Cat Returns,
That was
I
awesome.
love
which
it.
had great
Molly loved
reviews. Molly loved it. I actually liked it, but it was
I loved it because it was all cats.
yes. I think that's why we didn't like it. Rotten Cats.
why I loved it.
But Martha didn't connect for it all. Now we have a couple more. Like we have one called Tales from the Earthsea, and I don't know if it's going to be good or not.
Right.
Which one?
Tales from the Earthsea. I've heard it's really good, but now I'm gun shy because
I'm not holding
it's
out
been a
much
little
hope.
weird.
So
But we love it. We
Needless to
love
say, we need to avoid
Ponyo and Kiki's Delivery Service.
What
and
about
we
Princess
love those.
Mononoke?
Now we have
haven't
that one. We
seen
haven't
it yet.
watched it yet.
Gillian
That one's going to be
Anderson's
great.
in there, my X-Files lady.
Mononoke,
We need
it's
to
me.
love it.
That you're going to call him up.
Yeah.
Shove the big cell phone. Mononoke.
I have that book that Mulder, it's me.
Yes, you do. You have the trading cards too.
No, I don't. I did not collect
Did you get
cards.
the doll, the collectibles?
No. Did I?
You didn't have the dolls?
I think I
You had the
probably
toys.
did. The
You didn't have the Barbies. No, you didn't get the
No, not
Barbies.
Barbies.
They had the Mulder and Scully Barbie.
Oh, I've seen
But
those.
we have the
really, really enjoyed
toys
Mom.
that I have the Barbies. But they had the toys from the first movie. We have those.
I have to
You know,
deal
those
with
came with they were like 2-packs.
Right.
Shakur,
Like
they
Shakur. Oh, I wanted to
beat you
do
to it. So it came like the Mulder came with the alien that was in the white thing.
Right.
And if you open it, I mean, it was all wrapped up and everything. But I did hear that if you took
When you say
the,
the white one, you mean
it was like in a sheet. Remember, they had the aliens that had the black oil, and they were all wrapped up,
Right.
and you couldn't tell if it was an alien or
Right,
not.
okay.
So the toy was the same thing. You couldn't tell, is that an alien in there? What's inside? So a lot of
I'm
people
molding a lot of movies together because that's
people split the thing so they could see what was inside, and I always assumed it would be just a formless whatever because it's about the sheet. But what they said it inside, I just heard this, is like a character that's all like gooey, jelly filled, like bizarre. They're like, it looks like halfway between human and alien. It's
Right.
weird, which is intriguing. Now I want to go home and split those open.
You have them?
Yeah, of course
This
we
was
do.
from X-Files?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember that show? It had Mulder and Scully.
Okay. Vince Gilligan wrote all my favorite X-Files.
Not all.
All my favorite X-Files.
For somebody who
episodes.
is so literal.
Okay, I love him so much. And
you wrote many.
and then
most.
Breaking Bad, which is arguably the best
Yes.
show ever created on
Except
television.
for X-Files for Mom.
Then it was the X-Files
I
was
will
hit or
call
She's,
miss.
you know what? She's getting a little verklempt here. Let's let her go.
But now we got Better Call Saul, and I love that show so much.
Are you having some feels
She
here?
is, she's
Do you
getting a
need-
little overclamped.
Do you
I'm just
notice
telling
that?
you, I love Vince Gilligan.
She's
It's not
kind
about
of-
the shows; it's about Vince Gilligan.
She's kind of escalating.
She
here.
is.
Yeah,
She's getting a little
I
quiver.
know.
I'm a little bit of a stalker.
Did you
chick,
see her
I
hand
think.
started to shake a little
Yeah,
bit?
I'm telling you,
Precious.
he's my precious. Okay,
Yeah.
Vince Gilligan is my precious.
Vincent, if you're listening to this, sorry.
Yes.
Vince, if you're listening to this, I'd be
Hide.
shocked.
Run and hide.
Yeah, but no, you can't say that it's just Vince Gilligan because
I can say whatever
I mean you
want.
loved everybody on there, but except for Maria Menounos, whatever the one is.
Oh, Cove Rubius.
Yeah, no, the one who took over for Gillian Anderson, Maria Mayhill, Maria
What are you talking?
Moki.
Who took over
The
for
one,
Gillian
the one who had the
Anderson?
psychic abilities and worked with Robert Patrick.
Annabeth Gish.
Yes.
So help me God, you do not even know.
I was so close to the name.
I was
I wasn't even in the
so
ballpark.
bad.
It
Worst-
was a female. That's all I got
Worst
right.
actress ever.
Worst
No, no,
actress
no, no,
For
no.
hands down of all time.
she's
Worst
not good.
actress ever of all time.
Who's worse? You sound like you're going to say somebody worse.
I can't. I don't want to say that.
Oh come on.
I would say she's not good.
Who?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Annabeth Gish.
Annabeth Gish is
Okay,
not
who's
good.
the worst of all time? Who's worse than her?
As much as I don't
Ione
like Julia
Skye.
Roberts, I
Who?
would not say.
Ione Skye.
I like
No.
Ione Skye.
She's horrendous.
She's Donovan's daughter. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's Donovan's
Say
daughter.
it.
Nobody
Anything?
knows who Donovan
I liked her in Say Anything. Okay.
Who did it?
I like to say anything, but I don't think she was good. I think
There's a movie called
She's
The
better
Rachel
than
Papers.
Annabeth Gish.
That
that's bad.
have you seen The Rachel Papers?
No.
She's in that one. Apparently, the wardrobe person forgot to dress him through that movie because she's just all sorts of Ione
Naked?
Skye naked
Oh.
through the whole movie. It's
Well,
like
that's a
it,
coming of age story for her.
it was the weirdest. Well, it's this weird movie because it was on cable one night and it was right after Say Anything came out, and I was like, oh, that's the one that was just in Say Anything. And
Oh, I've
I mean,
seen
it's
that.
like
I have, yes.
10 minutes into it, all of a sudden she's like naked, and then she never has clothes on again through the whole movie. And you're like, what? What is this movie?
I haven't seen that one.
Showgirls.
Showgirls.
Oh no, that's the worst. There we go.
Elizabeth
That's a bad acting in
How
that
about
movie.
Coyote Ugly?
Coyote Cute was taken, so
Well, who's in Coyote Ugly?
Piper
Piper
Oh, the skier?
Paraboo, Piper Laurie.
Susie Chastain.
Who's,
Sorry.
who's
Sorry.
the skier? Piper Paraboo.
Yeah, we're getting it completely wrong.
Isn't that
so-
her?
It's not Piper Paraboo, is it? She's the skier.
Paraboo. It's something Paraboo.
Is it?
I
Maybe
think
it's
so.
Piper
All
Paraboo.
right, we are
Piper something.
Googling right now.
Google
Google
it.
that.
It's something like that. Is it Piper Paraboo the skier?
I don't know. Who's the skier?
Piper Paraboo.
It's Piper something. Or
Piper
Paraboo
Laurie.
something.
No, she's The Shining. That's the scary mom. Not The Shining. Carrie.
Yeah.
Scary mom from the.
Or The Shining. We're back to The Shining. Is Scatman
Well,
Crothers
I
going to enter
got
this
stuff going
conversation?
on. I love Scatman Crothers.
What do you mean?
Is that your impression?
My impression of Scatman. Sorry, I
Holy
That
can't do
was
it. I can't
that was
do
a
it.
Jack-worthy impression. That was the worst.
I'm not going to sing like a little. So.
When we have bad impressions, we call it Very Little. So that was Very Little just made an appearance
It's
here.
okay. Probably so.
Originally we called it Very Little, but Jack didn't think that was a funny name.
Yeah, he didn't appreciate being called
Let's
very
not call
little.
me Very Little. What was the name? What were we looking up? I already forgot. Piper Paraboo. What movie was it? Coyote Ugly.
Piper Paraboo, Piper or something.
Piper
something
Paraboo is a
Paraboo.
skier, I'm pretty sure.
Isn't that cute?
Define
Peekaboo Street was a skier.
Oh! Who's Piper Paraboo?
Right,
The
Mom.
girl from Coyote
She's
Ugly.
also a skier, in my mind.
She's not a skier.
Right, Mom.
No, but she's a skater because she skated through that role.
Hello.
Yeah, here, it's Piper
Now it says
Paraboo.
wow to you.
But her name is Piper Lisa Paraboo.
Because they need to give her a normal name.
Because apparently she killed somebody, and so now she has 3 names.
Yeah,
Could
she
you have
Maybe she's like Left Eye, Lisa Left Eye Lopez, who killed that guy.
burned down Andre Rison's house.
Oh,
Her
she's
husband's
in
house.
Looper. Did you know she's
Oh
in
yeah,
Looper?
she is. She was actually good in Looper.
Oh,
I just
Looper's so
said that
good.
she killed
Yes!
somebody. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong.
Found
on
my
that.
marker.
She may have. You never know.
I'm pretty
Allegedly.
sure I should not
Allegedly.
say she murdered somebody.
She's in Cheaper by the
Wait, she
Dozen.
murdered?
Cheaper
Who?
by the Dozen
Pe-
2. Piper Paraboo.
Who is she?
Peekaboo Street is in it.
Peekaboo Street.
Sesame Street.
Sesame Street is in
Open
it.
Sesame, Alibaba.
21 Jump Streets in it.
All both versions.
Yeah.
Both versions, sorry.
Did you see them?
They were okay. I'm not.
Did you like the show?
I liked
back
the
in
first
day?
one. The first one was funny. It was flawed at the end, though. That thing that they thought was really funny with the guy who got his Braunschweiger taken off.
Yes.
It wasn't funny.
No.
It didn't work. I didn't see the second
It
one. I heard the
wasn't
second
funny.
one's
It wasn't
funny.
fun.
I like Jonah Hill and I like Channing Tatum. Right, I got that right.
Yeah.
I always get it confused.
I'm surprised we're getting anything right
Well,
at this
hey,
point.
I'm pretty close after my last little. I like them both and separately. Like,
Yeah.
what was it? Is it Iron Eagle? That Channing
The one
Tatum is
with,
where he goes into Britain and gets the eagle back and he's like a Roman.
I didn't see that.
Oh, it's actually a really good movie.
I thought you were talking the one with Lou Gossett Jr. because that
Iron Eagle.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I want an Oscar. I'm cashing the check.
Yeah,
I'm cashing
right.
the $4.
You know what
Let's
he did?
go.
Then he did Enemy Mine, which was
He was.
awesome.
Oh yeah, he was great.
That was awesome. But yeah, Lou Gossett
Didn't
Jr.
you do
did not
Magic
get the.
Mike? I didn't see that.
No.
Yeah, he did Magic Mike, and that was good.
Lou Gossett Jr. wasn't in there.
Was that-
McConaughey.
No, Lou Gossett Jr.
McConaughey was in that though, and who's the guy that
He
played?
was in Magic Mike.
Piper
Channing
Paraboo.
Tatum.
Piper Paraboo. Channing Tatum was in it, but
Elliot Gould.
Peekaboo Street.
Jack Klugman.
Jack
Oh
Klugman.
my gosh.
Felix. Look at my
Oh,
Magic
The
Mike.
guy who played,
Jack
he was the
Klugman.
werewolf in True Blood. I can't think of his name.
Oh, Stellan Skarsgård or Andrew Skarsgård.
No, he's a vampire.
Okay, I didn't watch. I
yes.
watched the first episode.
Alexander Skarsgård. That's his Stellan's son.
That
Oh, is
show.
he?
Now, did
Yes.
you watch that show?
Yes, I loved it. I thought it was
Okay.
great. Well, the first
reason
3
I-
seasons were great.
I heard
After that
when
was
it goes
bad.
off the rails, it goes off so bad
It was, yeah.
that I'm afraid to start watching it because I'm like, what if I hit that point? Because they say when it hits the point, it's just so bad that it kind of taints the rest of it. So it's almost like you watch, 3 seasons and then stop?
The first three.
Now, did you read the books? I heard
No,
it's
I did not.
very
that
different than the
dog's
books. I heard the books are great.
The books are great from what I hear. Kathleen actually said that they're good. I like the story, but it gets a little.
That's his tone.
Crappy.
Well, here it is. Like Sookie
Sookie.
is the girl's name. Is the lead
Oh.
character. She it's very intriguing in the beginning because it's like her falling in love with a vampire.
Right.
The vampires come out and she's a spoiler alert from a series that's been ended for 3 years, but she's a part fairy, so she has like magical powers, and that's why the vampires are drawn to her.
Okay, what
And
show is this?
So am I, but we're not going to talk about
We're not
that
gonna
here.
talk about that.
True
We can't talk-
Blood.
Aren't we all a
Am
part?
I
It was
allowed to
good. The
watch
first 3
this?
seasons when they had, it
Ask
seemed like they had
Chris.
some cohesiveness to it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it was like vampires go wild because I think Twilight came out.
Oh
and they
yeah,
went,
Mark
"Oh,
Rubin, Vampires Go Wild.
Okay, ask him.
Is that
It was
right? Mark Rubin? Mark
Rubin,
Cuban,
yes.
whatever? Yeah.
No, Rubin. It was
Chris,
Rubin.
is that
Mark Cuban.
appropriate for me?
No.
Aw.
Oh no.
Why?
No.
That pilot episode's not appropriate for
No.
Martha either. That's why
No.
she hasn't watched it.
No, it's not. So it's very gratuitous. So. But it was good, but it just got silly. I mean, I think they ran out of things to do and they went over the top. So.
Did you watch the end of it?
Yes.
Was the last episode good? Because I've heard mixed things. I've heard people say it's worth watching the last
It is.
episode.
I think they ended.
Like
the last,
skip everything to that
The
point.
last season was kind of.
Kind of like The Office.
Yes.
The last couple seasons, it was like
it
just
was
skip it. Watch the
painful.
last episode. It's a good
Say
episode.
goodbye. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
for
we
a great
did
job.
like the last episode of that, but we
Yeah.
didn't. We skipped a couple
Did,
seasons.
did you watch Parks and Recreation?
No, I didn't. I didn't
love
watch
that
the
show
ever.
so
This week was the
much.
season
Oh my
or series finale.
Seriously,
Chris, it was
Oh,
fantastic.
it was so good.
Well, here's what's funny about that series finale. I don't know if it was really great, but I don't know if it holds up as. It was almost like a recap, like it wrapped everything up.
Well,
right?
and it
in
gave
a
everybody
bow.
their ending.
But
we
the
we
way
got
it
to see
did
in the
it was
future.
unique. Yeah, it flashed forward. So like Leslie would walk up and she'd touch somebody on the hand, and you would see what happened to them in the future, like kind of where their story went out.
Right.
And
No.
the really great thing, there was an article, I think it was in AV Club this week, how it said that somehow Parks and Rec became the best sci-fi show on TV. And I didn't realize it, but it did, because at the end of last season, the very last thing you saw was Leslie was debating whether she should take this job. She said, I'm going to take it, but I want to stay in Pawnee. And then it flashed forward 3 years.
But he's never
this
seen it, so he doesn't know what you're talking
I know, but this entire season has been 3 years in our future.
Right.
So the science fiction part of it is very subtle. They have smartphones that are all 3D.
Oh, the
and they
glass.
have-
Everything's
Yeah, everything's
glass.
like Google Glass, and but it's all just kind of part of their world. Like the one company sends them a gift through a drone, and they don't seem like if you got a drone delivery here, you'd be like, is this a drone delivery? What is this? This is
Right.
weird. To them, it's just like, oh, we got this delivery because this is just kind of how it is.
Right.
It
Is it
was
like
a
Golden
science
Wilson's
fiction
the
show.
mayor? I like that.
It was cool.
Right.
The
Which one?
Goldie Wilson. Is it Goldie Wilson from?
Yes.
Mayor, I like the sound of that.
Yeah. Mayor
Ronald
Goldie.
Reagan. The actor?
I thought you were talking about
Sorry.
Goldie Hawn.
No. I was doing a Back to the Future. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anything mean about Goldie Hawn. I like Goldie
Fine.
Hawn.
See,
I've
no,
got
thanks.
mean things to say, but I'm not going to say it
Why?
about the future with Goldie
You
Hawn.
have bad things to say about Goldie Hawn?
Of course.
Who are you? What kind of monster are you?
No, you ever see
I
Wildcats?
have plenty to
That's a
say
Nipsey Russell
about her
movie.
child.
Yes.
That was a great movie.
Wildcats is a good movie.
And what's his name was in it too? Blade. Wasn't he in it? Yeah, Blade was
Wesley
in
Snipes?
that. Yeah. He's in that.
Yeah,
He's
he
one of
is
the
in
football
that.
players.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
Yeah?
You just referred to him as Blade.
I couldn't think of his name. Because he's Blade. Have you seen Blade
Blade.
2?
Yeah.
He is
No, I've
freaking
seen-
Blade.
I don't know.
Blade
I've
3 is
seen Blade.
terrible.
You know what? It's bad, but
No, don't defend it, Chris. Do not.
in
Are you going to say you liked it?
I'm not gonna say that I liked it,
Or
but
you're
I
gonna
didn't think
say
it was
it's-
horrendous. I didn't think it was horrendous.
Okay.
You
know what? I
as
can-
third trilogies go, or as the third part of the trilogy where they have no second trilogy, the second story.
Here's
it's
the
not bad.
problem.
Either, I think,
Blade
the
2
younger version and then
was
Oh, better than the first, I think.
perfect,
Yes.
like, vampire sci-fi movie. It
Yes.
was so great. So when you hit Blade 3, and it's, like, produced by the people that brought you the Love Boat. I mean, that's what it felt like. Like, bad dialogue. It's got Green Lantern is terrible
Wouldn't
in
that
it.
be Aaron
Yes,
Spelling?
yes, he's bad because they wanted to bring that in there.
Yeah, it just... And I kind of like him, but... Like Ryan Reynolds, that's his name. I
Right.
kind of like him, but I
It's
don't...
It's not Jessica Alba. It's
Who?
who's the girl? Who's
Oh,
Jessica Biel? It's Jessica Biel.
Oh,
yeah,
Jessica
Jessica
Biel.
It's Jessica Biel. It's not
Yeah.
Alba, right? It's one of the two Jessicas.
yeah. One of the Jessicas. They're like the new
Who's
Corey.
the other Jessica?
Jessica Stein.
Not Jessica.
Hahn.
Jessica.
Jessica Hahn. No, that's
Jessica
dating
Alba
yourself.
and Jessica
Yeah,
Biel.
Jessica Alba, the Invisible Girl.
The Invisible Girl.
Biel from her
Dawson. It was not
Heaven.
Dawson. Heaven, Seventh Heaven.
Yeah, she wasn't
Right.
the Dawson.
How about that guy?
Yeah, from the one who was in Star
He's
Trek.
a train wreck.
Yeah, he was in Star Trek 2? Was it 2 that he was in, or the first one?
First one.
Yeah,
So
he's the one that goes off with Ilea.
Ilea, yeah.
Yeah, what a creep. Well, what can you do?
They're actors.
Put him in jail. That's,
Are you
I'm
just
pretty sure
all
what they did.
actors?
Not all, but a lot. So, Gary Busey is a representative of your.
Oh, Gary Busey. Now you're
That's all.
talking.
That's all I have to say.
You know what?
To coin another podcast, enough said.
Yeah.
Enough said. You know what? I love him in the Buddy Holly story.
Oh yeah.
And he's one of those actors
He
that
would-
is nuts, but he can be a good time. We love his son though, Jake Busey.
Oh, yeah.
Every time he shows up at something,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, "This is going to be a good time."
He's something crazy is gonna happen because he picked up the
Yep.
crazy.
He did,
Barry
but
Rand.
not.
But in a
as-
different way, because Gary, I don't think even knows
Yeah,
he's
Gary
on
thinks
screen
off
most of the
planet.
time.
I think now he does, and he went. Did you see the?
Yeah, the thing he commercially just
Commercial.
did.
The thing was, I think he knows that he's just wacky and he's milking it now.
Okay.
I think he understands that he's nuts and he's like,
Yeah, I think to a degree. Although there was a series called My Day with Gary Busey
Oh, I
or
thought it was
something.
My Two Dads.
You ever see that
Going-
show? It was a.
da, da, da. My Three Sons.
My Three
Fred
Sons.
McMurray.
It was a show that was like a reality show, and this guy who was a
You're
writer
done.
Right.
filmed his time with Gary Busey,
Uh-huh.
and
Here.
you get the impression right away, like he tries to do some setup stuff because he's trying to make it an interesting show. So he'll be like, "We're going bowling today," and Gary is so far off planet. And I remember reading about this guy afterwards, and that's what he said. He said it was. He's like, it went from being kind of funny to like, wow, this guy is off planet. Like, what are we gonna do here? Like, I'm in this situation. And it was really just he like interviewed him or something, and they filmed it, and it turned into this show.
Right.
But yeah, Gary is.
I mean, he's got some.
Somebody's in on the joke, but I'm not sure.
What's wrong?
Like, you do me a favor. Can you grab that piece of wood off of that table for me?
What happened to your table there?
I know they just. You see, there's a piece of wood on there. Can you grab it for me?
I bet something caught
Molly?
it and it ripped
It's right.
off.
That's okay. I'll get it.
Hey Molly, can you grab that piece of wood that's on top of the table there?
Table is a hunk
Thanks.
Molly
You
and
could
Gary
hot
Busey
glue
are
gun.
off planet.
You could hot glue gun that.
Yeah, I can. We'll get it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just have to glue it. We'll put
Well,
some
take,
stuff.
take it and give it to Chris, please.
Yeah, why don't you?
I bet something stuck on it and ripped it right off.
Did they hightail it out of here? You know how you do that?
That's
Like,
what they love. I mean, they were putting it on. So it's just.
yeah,
glue.
they probably just did it, but they're like, oh,
Hey, it's
nobody
the
notices.
finest.
We gotta go. Martha would say we can never go back now.
Oh, I would. One time downtown, I used to nanny in Lincoln Park, and not the band, but yeah, and in the
Wait,
area.
how would you nanny in Lincoln Park if
With
it was the
I
band?
nannied the band.
Was it
I
rental
nannied,
or-
I nannied Lincoln
Already.
Park, but I changed their diapers. But I went to this
Ew.
restaurant and I didn't clear my plate because I couldn't tell if it was it was just like a lunch place, but I couldn't tell if I was supposed to clear my own plate. I would not go back ever because I was so mortified that they would know that I didn't
That
clear my
anybody
plate.
would-
I know, isn't that funny?
Anybody-
No,
Yeah.
but she couldn't.
The
No.
entire
I couldn't
set
go
has been
back.
turned over like 7 times.
So
Yeah.
it's been kind of our running thing that is to just go, yeah, we can never go back there. So that would be me. You'd never
Yep.
see us
You
again.
would never
if that
see us
happened.
again if that happened. Well, you'd see me because I'd go ridiculousness here, couldn't come back, but eventually we get you some medication. We'd be able to handle it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
There might not be enough.
You'll have to go back to all the places that you've done that to, and it's like every.
I'm on medication now. I
I'm so sorry.
You need a
17
T-shirt.
Here's 17 years ago.
I've been medicated. I'm back.
You're right. Yeah, I could totally medicate and go back and walk through my walk of shame through all the places that I could.
That now
People will be like,
that's
okay, thanks.
That would
lady.
be an
No.
awesome video.
that's the Walk of Shame movie I'd want to see. Not that one with Elizabeth Banks, but Martha just having to go back.
Wasn't the
You know
Walk
what?
of Shame movie with Joaquin Phoenix or somebody?
No, that's a Walk in the Woods or
The one about
of Shame is-
Johnny Cash.
Walk the line.
There you go.
Walk of shame.
I literally just turned on, I was flipping through HBO, and on comes, there's Elizabeth Banks in this, like, really tight white dress, or yellow dress.
Yeah.
Walking into some crack house. I'm like, what in the heck is this? And it's like...
And of course, you watched it with the.
No, I watched like 2 minutes of it and said that's it.
You can watch that one with the sound off, but yeah, that's the only reason I know is because it's on HBO, and when you turn on HBO Go, it's the first one that comes up right now. And she's in the yellow dress. And I'm like, oh, Walk of Shame. What's this? I think it was in theaters.
It had to be, because it's a feature film. Do you think they're going to put it straight to video?
Well,
Where were we? I
could
got
be.
lost.
Could be.
Spelling people over here.
And I like her. She's been in some
Elizabeth
really good-
Banks?
Yeah, she's been in
Yeah,
some
I like
really
her
good-
Wasn't she the one in 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I always mix
she's
her
also in
up with
Zack and
Katherine
Miri.
Heigl.
Yes.
They're sort of the
Well,
two.
actually, I
but-
like too, but she gets, I mean...
People don't like her.
Yeah.
I liked her in 27 Dresses. We
29
liked.
Yeah.
dresses.
You know who I get
29?
confused by?
Whatever.
I don't know.
I
There's
don't know,
enough.
whatever.
A lot of dresses.
What-
I get
Yes.
confused by Elizabeth Banks.
Oh, that's
And,
a kid's book.
and they're not
Oh,
the ones. The one from that played Lois Lane. Amy
Amy
Adams.
Adams, I love.
And
She's my
Amy-
favorite.
The other Amy.
Fisher.
What's the other Amy?
Amy Fisher.
Amy Pond.
You shot my Joey.
I never slept with
Joey.
Amy Fisher.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There's another girl
Ding
that looks
dong,
like that.
Avon calling.
Who?
There's Amy Adams.
Amy Fisher. Amy.
Bobby Fisher.
Bobby Fisher.
Anal Fisher.
so,
That's his brother.
oh, hello.
This is taking a turn for the
This is-
worse.
yeah.
Okay.
This show has been edited for...
Fishers, huh?
No, is it another Amy, or is it just somebody that you confuse them? Because there's Elizabeth
another actress that
Banks
looks like
and
Elizabeth
Amy
Banks.
Fisher, and Amy Adams,
Amy Adams.
Don
She was
Adams.
in the Muppets.
Yeah, she was in
I
the
like
Muppet
it.
movie.
And I
Did you
loved
see
her in that
How to
Irish
Throw- Is that How to
movie.
Throw a Curve with her and Clint Eastwood?
No.
Justin Timberlake, because we were going on the Justin
No, is that
Timberlake.
good?
It's actually really good, yeah. So she's like a lawyer, and Clint Eastwood's a baseball scout.
Yeah.
He's losing his vision, he can't see, but he knows everything by hearing. And, like, that's the whole thing. It's like he can hear how people hit and throw
Okay.
things by that. And Justin Timberlake plays a baseball player that flew out his arm or something that loves baseball and wants to be in it. And so she was trained by Clint Eastwood. Her whole life was following him around on the road being a scout. So
Okay.
it's like the story of how, you know, she wanted to break free of her dad's thing, but she was actually a very good baseball person. And,
Sure,
you know,
sure.
it's stupid. It's just typical.
Doesn't sound stupid to me.
It wasn't bad. It was
and it's
actually- I
Clint
really
Eastwood.
liked
His
it, though.
movies are
Yeah.
so good.
I did.
I actually had fallen off on his. I
think
didn't
they're
see
all
that
sad.
one, the curve one. I didn't see $1 Million Baby.
Ooh,
I didn't
that's-
see
go see
Gran
that.
We've
Torino.
missed a lot. We don't have to go anywhere.
it's-
We just have to look it up,
It's so
right?
sad.
Because they're all on.
Yeah, I didn't see any of those, but like
Hillary Swank was amazing.
Mystic River, amazing.
Yeah.
He directed that.
Sean Penn,
Bird is an amazing film
Yes.
if you haven't seen that.
Uh-huh.
Charlie Parker.
Charlie Parker, yeah.
I'm
Everything
just
is-
throwing them out. I'm like Rain Man.
You are like Rain
But it's
Man
like
today.
everybody who, I mean, if you're in his movie, you have a shot at winning an Oscar. It's like
Hi,
almost,
Rain
it's like
Right.
a lock. So
Well, yeah. I mean,
Here.
look what happened with Clyde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every which way you can. I mean, he won the Oscar, didn't he? The orangutan. Come on,
Yes.
nobody's.
I know what
I
you
know,
meant.
no,
We're all
I
just kind of
We're
staring.
going
I was
into
there.
space.
going. I
It was
went
a-
back to Clyde
It's the
Bruckman's
70s. I was
Return.
thinking about
When are they going to relaunch that? Everything's up for a reboot. I am ready for that and BJ and the Bear to come back. There's not
Shit's
enough
really ready for-
monketainment happening
Monk
right
You
now.
want a whole monk channel?
I
like A
do.
whole monkey channel.
Well,
Planet of the Apes. You could have the whole thing.
oh, shut up. I
You
love
could gorilla, you
those.
could
Did you
have
see that
everything.
last one? I just saw it.
No.
The Dawn of the Planet of the
Good.
Apes. Did you see the one before that? The Rise of the...
Uh-huh.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you watch that with Molly?
No. The sequel
Rise is the one with
is
Harry
Stellan
Potter kid.
Skarsgård and... No, I'm kidding.
What?
the one kid the kid who plays from House Slytherin. I can't.
Oh,
think of
yeah,
his name.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Draco Malfoy.
Draco
Yeah,
Malfoy,
he's in
Two.
Rise.
Molly, do you know that
No, he's in
actor's
one.
name?
What?
He's in one,
The
and then
actor who played
which one's
Draco
first?
Malfoy.
Rise and
I
then
have no
Dawn,
idea.
or Dawn and then Rise? It's Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is first. That's the one with
Well,
Tom.
see, the dawn. First,
Tom
you gotta
Felt-
have the dawn, and then you rise. Then
Right.
you gotta wake up after
Right,
the
the Dawn is the one with Tom Felt, who is Draco Malfoy.
Okay.
Oh, you know
And
his
then
name.
Rise is I can't think who's in it.
Is Hugh Jackman in any of them?
No, but it is fantastic.
Right.
You know, one of the most surprising things about it, I mean, it's a big summer action movie or whatever.
Right.
There's like no dialogue for the first half hour. I mean, seriously. It's
The only dialogue is the apes that'll just like,
Right.
and like one word here and there, but it's a lot of sign language, and it's just watching the apes, and it is so amazing.
Well, and Sirtis is unbelievable.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
He's unbelievable how much he gets from just his movement.
Yes.
So it was like,
And then there are apes. And then I'm out.
No, you have no idea. It's so fantastic.
well, this is taking.
And when it gets to the point where the apes are riding the horses and attacking the city, once again, we're
Apes
starting.
are riding horses. Okay,
even
I gotta
even
go to
if
the
we're
bathroom on
at
that note.
even if the movie's a 2-star movie, when you say apes riding horses with rifles, we've gone right up to 5 stars.
Yes.
It's going to take a lot to inch it back, and it's really good.
I don't know why I didn't see it. I just didn't.
You need to.
I need to. I will. So,
Yeah. We just watched, speaking of, when you mentioned Andy Serkis, it actually reminded me,
King Kong.
no. We just watched Harry and the Hendersons again.
Okay.
Oh, I love that movie.
I haven't seen that in years. What a great movie.
Right.
It's one of those that you kind of forget about how really good it is.
Right.
And how great it was watching it with her. Now, yeah, I mean, okay, so there's some language that we go, wow, if they made that now, that stuff would not be
No.
flying through it. But I don't care. It
But
was
at the time
really
they
great.
could, so-
That's right. John
like
Lithgow
Blazing
is
Saddles.
just
Oh, yeah.
great. And the mom from E.T. is in it. The mom from Close Encounters. She plays the wife.
She plays the mom.
No, the other one. The one with the little boy
Oh, the
that gets
blonde,
taken.
the blonde,
Yes,
yeah.
she's the wife. It's really, really great. But the reason I bring this up, the actor that played Harry is another one. There's like Doug Jones, Andy Serkis, and then this guy,
Right.
and Ed Gale does a lot. He's the guy that you see him. He was Howard the Dog.
Yes.
He plays a lot of those kind of
Right.
characters. But they're these actors that really do this like heavily
Oh.
characterized stuff.
Uh-huh.
There's a
But the guy that
Baymax
did-
pop toy.
Yes, there is. The guy who did that was Harry was also the Predator.
Oh, Harry and the
Oh, really?
Hendersons?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, this guy was cool. And then also I'm like, whoa, he was the Predator. That's awesome.
He wasn't and then you get all the good guys that they got now that played all the works and stuff that Peter Jackson stepped into.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really amazing. Well, I got to interview Doug Jones,
Uh-huh.
and he's one of my heroes. Man.
Sure.
Not that I want to do that.
Right.
I just am amazed at this guy. I'm amazed
What a
at his
career.
abilities.
He gets to do everything. And he just has to go in
but
a
his,
day here, there. Like, he doesn't.
Yeah, but it's what's crazy is like when you start looking at his body of work.
Well, sure.
Like I didn't know a lot of this stuff, and I consider myself a fan. He's like, oh well, and I was Mac Tonight. Remember Mac Tonight?
Yeah.
Yes,
Remember
The big moon.
Right.
That was him.
Yeah. They
He's
did,
like, yeah, I was that. And then
He was just on Face Off. You ever seen the show Face Off on Sci-Fi
Yeah,
Channel?
he's on that?
He was one of the guest judges this last time because you were doing
I wish
it.
I'd watched it. I'm gonna have to find it.
He's just amazing.
He's
How-
amazing. He brings that to life. Do you watch Falling Skies?
No, I don't. So
You would love it.
Cheese on there.
Yeah,
He's a
he's
fantastic
an alien.
character.
Oh, he's great.
Right.
She's one of the main. I mean, it's a really important
Right.
character.
Yeah, and he was the Silver Surfer.
right.
So we got him to say something for Enough Said. We interviewed him for Falling Skies. Then we got him to say, this is Doug Jones, the Silver Surfer. And I'm like, yeah, it was. So it was Lawrence Fishburne's voice of the Silver Surfer.
Right.
He did the body.
Right.
But hearing him say it, you're like, yep, that's the Silver Surfer. They needed to use his voice because he is awesome.
It's like being Darth Vader, isn't it? Wasn't it David Prowse was Darth
David
Vader?
Prowse
but then it
was James
Earl Jones' voice. It's like,
Yep.
I mean, if someone's going to do your voice,
Yeah, have it be
it's pretty
James Earl
good.
Jones.
Pretty sweet deal to have.
Yeah.
or Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne's got a pretty cool voice.
Yeah, yeah.
Or Amy Fisher.
or Amy Fisher as the voice of Darth Vader.
Luke, I'm your.
Yeah, I can't
Luke,
do it.
I'm
can't
your.
even-
Well,
I can't
actually,
even do it.
it's not Amy Fisher. It was the.
Joey Buttafuoco.
It was Joey's wife.
Wife, yes.
She's the one. I am your father, Luke.
Oh, it would be fantastic.
Don't you say nothing bad about my Joey.
Now you sound like Tina.
Now I sound like Teen Mom. Well, don't they all kind of sound the same?
They do. So.
Yeah. Way to stereotype.
No, not
All
the
those
teen
people
mom.
from
The
New York.
mom of the teen.
Right, the mom. Right. The teen mom
Janelle's
is
mom.
Janelle.
Janelle.
Oh, they're the worst.
I thought you wanted
Why do we even know what that show is?
Yeah, yeah, I
Like,
thought-
Face Off? Sure.
Right.
I'm down with that. I don't want to know. It's like the Kardashian thing. I don't want to know any of that stuff. I want nothing to do with any
It
of
was
it.
interesting. The whole concept that you're famous for being famous is a very interesting concept, and that they actually made something of their lives. But you just look at how frivolous their entire life is, and I think they're probably really good people, and they're just like caught up in this, and it's like when that much money is involved, you have to have, it's got to change things, and you just kind of go,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it's like you become a caricature of yourself.
Well, and how many
It's also when it
teenagers
becomes
want to
their-
have babies because they go, I get to be on TV. They're
Yeah.
going to do a show about me.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yeah, that's-
Is that where we want our society to
That
go?
doesn't work for me.
No.
No. And that's like the
What's the
Octomom.
Amy Farrah something? Or
Farrah, yeah. No, Farrah.
Who?
Not Amy Farrah
the
Fowler.
one that was a teen
Yeah,
mom,
Farrah.
and then just
Farrah Abraham.
Farrah Abraham, and
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that sets
not
a
that
dangerous
not that her story
precedent.
is any different than a lot of people's, but they put it on and made it semi-attractive.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, I can do that. It's like,
Yeah. No thanks.
And then you've got like the ones having a bazillion babies, and then they all get TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
So then you get crazy people
Well,
like Octomom. who,
Octomom.
right. Well,
You know, oh thanks.
Kate and whatever that whole thing
Yeah,
was.
Kate.
Oh,
and
John and Kate.
plus
John and
8
Kate
or
plus
whatever.
8. It's like,
No thanks. We saw her speak at our church. That night we come home, and it was the night that the
So
episode
story
aired
broke.
where John says, I'm leaving. It was like, we just saw her
She sat
up
there
on stage,
smiling, acting
act
like
everything's,
nothing
and like,
in the
oh,
world
these
is
great
going
parents
on.
and all this, and then you go home and you see, and it was that episode where it was like,
She's a fraud.
you know what? She just lied through this whole thing at our church. Yeah, well, she hasn't been back, so. Yeah, that's that whole thing. I'm not into any of that.
the whole reality, I mean, the original reality TVs, like when they first did,
The Littlest Room where they had the dwarf dating the girls.
yes, no, what was the MTV one? Real World. The
Real
very
World.
first one where
Oh,
they,
yeah, that was great.
No, the one with
Even before
the
Paul.
very, very first one where they literally took 6 people and just threw them in there, and they
Yeah.
had to get along, and it was Mike Bellamy, and
That
and
was
there
the most
some-
interesting one.
That was the most interesting one because they didn't think they could become famous, and I think it was just kids that said, "Hey, they're going to film us. This is cool."
Right.
And then all of a sudden became, "Hey, I can be famous." And
Well,
then it's like,
the one with
Yeah.
Puck, which was like the second or third one, I still
Third.
thought those were good.
Yeah.
And
but those people knew they could be famous.
Then they
because-
did
they
London.
could, but it's the
Yeah.
same thing that happened with Survivor. The very first Survivor was so different
Oh, sure.
than what happened after that.
Yeah.
You know, and now it's like you see them go on, and you can tell that in their heads, a lot of them are thinking like, I need to hang on because I can get a career out of
Oh,
this.
sure.
But I think the ones that tend to go furthest are the ones that kind of forget about it and just are in it.
Sure.
So I like Survivor, and I think Survivor is one of those that,
Yeah, why?
because of how grueling it is and how long it lasts, I think it breaks a lot of that
Oh, sure.
before it. Whereas other shows
Right.
like Surreal Life, that's all they thought was,
Oh
I'm
my gosh, I
rekindling
will
my
not
career.
ever get back Mini-Me peeing in the corner. Like, how do you recover from that?
Because
That noise he made.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
You should tell about Molly and Minnie Me.
Molly,
Did you
when
meet-
we met Krychek, Nick Lay, and next to him was Mini-Me and Vern Troy, and he's
Troy.
sitting on a chair, and he's like, I mean, maybe like 15 inches. I mean, he's like this tiny,
Sure.
tiny. And so Molly's about 6 years old, maybe, and she's standing there. Rob and I were ignoring her because she was standing next to us, and we were talking to Krychek, of course. And so I look over at Molly sitting there staring about 2 feet away from him, staring at him with her mouth hanging open. And I go, oh my gosh, what are you doing? I look to see where she's looking. I'm like, no, turn, but she's like,
The best part would be that she goes, "That's the guy who peed on the wall."
yeah, I know. But luckily, she hadn't seen it. But I was sitting there dying. I'm like, yeah, that's me. She's like, he's so small. I'm like, yes. Could you not be rude, please, and stare at him? But it was very funny.
But it's like, I mean, when I was way heavier, like you'd walk through the store and little kids would like stop and stare. And little kids would say, that guy.
Oh.
And people would be like horrified, and I would be like, you know what? I go, it's okay. I go, kids tell the truth, and I am. I go, it's all right. I said, I go, you know, and I would talk to them and be like, you know, you shouldn't really tell that to people. I go, but you're right, I am. I go, and it's not a good thing. So you shouldn't let this happen to you.
Yeah.
And then, but you know, parents would just be like, you know, like, what? Like they'd be like, and I never. I mean, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? It'd be like,
I had a friend who has a son. Her son was at the time about 5 or 6, and they were at once again at Blockbuster, and there was a guy that worked there who was a little person, and so this kid says, Drake says, "Mom, look at how small, you know, that guy is." You know, and he's like, "Why is he so small?" And the guy looks down from the ladder and looks at him and goes, "Because God hates me." And Drake just went white, you know.
Oh,
and my friend just kind of grabbed him and you know, but like he was an angry dwarf, but it was so funny. Because I was referencing Elf. He was an angry dwarf. Yeah, he was a South Pole elf. But oh my gosh, it was so funny. He's like, because God hates me. But
you hire out for parties.
oh yeah, I just
Santa 3 is looking for some more cast members. So.
wow, really? Are you doing aquarium sound effects on the podcast?
Oh! Yeah, I am. I didn't realize.
Yeah, so we went there.
I mean, well, it's,
yeah.
Being a former person, when I was really, really large, people do stop and stare at me and like visibly and all that stuff.
That's so hard.
You know what? And I hate to say it like this, I did that to myself. So I need to be, aware of it and just deal with it. And it didn't offend me. It didn't, it never made me mad because it wasn't like that, especially when little kids said stuff. I was just like, you're right. And it was my cross to bear, I guess, is what I would say. So.
What was your cross to bear? I missed
It was like we were talking about when Molly saw Bert Troyer and like was staring at him, and how like when I used to be really, really heavy, people would stare at me in stores and stuff, and kids would be like,
"Oh yeah."
Now we make fun of you for other reasons.
Well, and there's plenty. Don't worry about it. I can say the wrong thing at the absolute best time. So
but I get that.
Yeah.
Essentially, so I mean, when you sit there, I mean, it's hard enough being bigger than 99% of the people on the planet, let alone that being really heavy too.
Yeah.
So, sorry, it was what it was. So you can't be. I feel bad for people that are so self-conscious about it.
Yeah.
Because it's just you. I think it's all part of that's you, and it may not be the healthiest thing, but guess what? That's what it is. And whether it's a medical thing or it's just you have to deal with that and just accept it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it right that people say things or do things, but
but especially kids, they just are so innocent. They don't know.
Yeah, her staring at Mini-Me.
I mean, older kids know, but but
not
not
these
these little kids.
But even somebody that stares at you, you'd be like, that's we that's the way we disseminate things.
Yeah.
Yes or no. We're yes or no. That's everything is
trying to process.
Yeah.
Right.
It's binary. Yes, no. And so we get into that point. So.
Yeah, it's one thing if somebody's making fun. That's a different animal altogether.
Absolutely. Well, doing it maliciously, but when little kids look and they turn the corner and see this huge person,
Of course they're going to be like,
I remember once we got into an elevator in the Lake Point Towers. I was visiting a friend, and my one of my best friends at the time was a big guy. He played football. He was about 6'2", big guy. Walks in the elevator. There was this lady in there, and then I walk in. I'm 6'4", 400-some pounds, and then this guy he had to be like an ex-pro football player, so this is about 6'8", just huge. Walks in,
called you tiny.
This girl, I mean, literally, very few people make me feel small. I was like, what's going on? This guy was huge. And this little lady, was probably, I don't say average height, 5'4", or whatever, is like sitting in the corner, and she like looks up, and the guy behind me says, "Man, we just keep getting bigger. Sorry." It was kind of funny. And she's like, "Oh,
what happened to you?"
The guy that was behind me, we were all very nice to her. He was like super. He's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? Sorry," and made a point out of it. But it was like he was like, I was like, because there aren't many people. I mean, basketball players do sometimes, tall guys, but they're usually so skinny.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not usually big,
they're
like
not
football
usually big
players.
guys. No, football players.
My sister, I have 6 older sisters, And one of my oldest ones, she was a real chubby kid, and she had big curly hair,
Right.
and But my parents got on an elevator with her, and there was a mail carrier there, and who was quite large. And Peggy says, Mom, look at that fat man or something. And he looks at my sister, and she's about 3 years old, and he goes, "You're not so skinny yourself, kid." And she wasn't. She was quite a chunk. Because she ate, my oldest sister was always really skinny and underweight because Peggy ate everything on her plate. Yeah. Whoops.
I was an only child. I was able to eat whatever. So
Me too.
That explains a lot.
yeah, my awesomeness
That explains how tall he is.
Hey,
and my garage full of toys.
you're the oldest and the
Whoa,
youngest.
I
You get
went
the,
to the
it's the worst of
ceiling.
both. or the
I'm
best
the
of both.
8th.
Yeah.
So I got nothing.
8 and 9.
Out of 9.
It was by the time you were around there, your parents were like,
Who are you?
"So like Life of Brian."
Exactly. She's standing at the sink, it just falls out.
Just falls
Oh,
out.
we got another one. There's like 500 kids in the one apartment, then across the street, it's a Protestant. There's like the one kid that's they're eating.
Ooh, we should watch that
Good
again. Not
old
with her.
Monty Python. So
Oh yeah.
Monty Python, I never got to watch that.
Well, you can't see that movie. You can watch the show. It's inappropriate a lot, but it's not that inappropriate.
not now, I don't think. I don't
No
think-
more than living
No, but
with
there's
us.
stuff on the show when you watch it. When you watch it through the filter of a parent, it's a little weird. But I was probably her age when I started watching
sure.
Python. It was
Oh,
on
it was on PBS. It had to be a good show. It had to be
Sunday
good
nights
for-
on PBS, so you were able to watch it. And my parents would even go to sleep, and I had a TV in my room, even like early, like 7 or 8. But it was this
Not
little,
happening.
tiny, like back then it was probably huge in my mind, but it was like probably like a 8-inch screen or
Was one of those
something.
white ones with the black screen. That
With
It's
the
just
big
so
antenna.
tiny.
big antennas. Oh yeah.
Yep. And I
I
remember sitting in my room. I didn't watch it from bed. Like I was sitting on my desk, and then I'd sit
Right.
at my desk and I would watch Monty Python in black and white, and then that would end, and on would come Tom Baker, and I'd be like, "This is the greatest," and then I'd pass out.
Right.
But yeah, that was a breeding ground for
I remember
insanity. That was
I remember
the
it
best.
being rough because I wanted to sleep. So it'd be like Doctor Who would be over at 11:30 and 6 a.m. was early.
Yeah.
I remember it'd be like,
I know, but then again, it was Doctor Who.
Yeah, it was
and
Doctor
that
Who,
was
so-
that was the problem.
and then you get like the extended like. The
No, I'll give you
key
the
to
worst.
time ones or like an hour and a half. You'd be like,
Yeah, brutal. I'll give you the worst one. Every New Year's. Now, my dad was a drummer, okay? Jazz musician. Still a drummer, but. And
You want these?
every
I was a DJ Jazzy Jeff drummer.
every Saturday night, he would have gigs, And that also meant New Year's Eve, he would be playing a show. And we would try to stay up. And I will never forget, every Christmas, or every New Year's, they would show, I think it was on Channel 9, WGN, they would show the Marx Brothers movies. Do you remember this?
Right.
That was the brutal one. Because that was before videotape.
Right.
So you had to stay up. You wanted to see those Marx Brothers movies, you had to stay up. And they would end with Duck Soup. Duck Soup would come on at midnight. And it was always like, gotta make it to Duck Soup. Gotta get through Duck Soup. Brutal.
Never made it.
Boy, that next morning was rough. Yeah, now we have
Those
them on
were-
DVD and you have
Right.
access. And, like it's
And
on
those were
special.
phenomenal. They were
Oh, we were lucky
so
enough.
witty. It's unbelievable how good they
You
were.
guys
We
were lucky
saw
enough
them.
to stay up.
We saw them at a revival theater. They had this thing where they would do 2 movies every weekend, and they whoever
The one
did
in
the program,
Minneapolis?
yeah, whoever did the programming did a great job. Like they would pick interesting things together, like they'd Blowout and Pulp Fiction together. Okay, so it would be like an interesting
Well, it was
combo.
the John Travolta one, right?
Yes.
That was
That was a
that
good
was
movie.
I don't like
Yeah.
anything with John Travolta.
No.
that was.
Well, yeah, you do. You like
that
Pulp
was a
Fiction.
good movie. He plays the
Oh,
sound
no,
guy,
I like
right?
Pulp Fiction.
He plays the sound guy. And he's
Yeah,
doing
the sound
video-
guy. And he
yeah.
hears, and he notices a car tire getting blown out by,
Right, but
by
then
a
he hears the
gunshot.
shot and the
Yep.
And it's Nancy Allen.
Yeah, it's Nancy Allen, but no, it's
Lithgow's in
John
that, right?
Lithgow as the
plays
bad guy.
As the Nazi dude, like the guy when he. Oh, that was
And
crazy.
he kills the guy in the bathroom. Remember,
Right.
he takes the piano wire and he pulls him up, and you see the guy's feet dangling. Woo! Lithgow is scary in that movie.
That's where they do the fighting in the prison. He tapes like phone books to his body for
Yes. Oh, so good.
It's a far cry from World According to Garp.
It's a far cry from Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah.
You know.
Or 30
Although,
Not a
30
far
Rock.
cry from Dexter.
Third Rock.
yeah, not a far cry from Dexter.
No. But by then, he's, you've seen the gamut. But
That's right. But they showed 3 Marx Brothers movies on the screen. We got to see 3 Marx Brothers on the big screen at once. That should be a regular thing at movie theaters. Like, if you could take those old films and Sunday morning go to see them, we would take Molly to that stuff all
sure.
the time. To go see the Marx Brothers on a screen.
right.
They showed Day at the Races, Night at the Opera, and Duck Soup. I mean, come on. You laughed so hard. The other one that I'll never forget was they showed Harold and Maude, which is,
Right.
amazing. There's a moment in Harold and Maude that I'd seen this movie, I don't know, 10, 20 times. I mean, a ridiculous amount. Enough that I knew everything that was going on. But I had never laughed at one moment. And seeing it on the theater, seeing it on the screen, laughed out loud, and it's a moment that stayed with me. Do you remember the scene when the mother, I don't remember how it leads up to it, but I think the mother walks in and thinks he's dead.
And
then-
Harold and Maude?
Yeah, and
Well,
he
'cause he was always
turns,
hanging or
but
something.
he turns to the camera and breaks the fourth wall and looks at the audience like, yep. Never,
I think that's when he was hanging when he was in the bathroom.
yeah, it's something like it, but never funny to me.
Right.
Seeing it on a screen, having him look out, as many times as I'd seen it, it was laugh out loud
Right.
funny. Like the whole place erupted when he looked out like, oh yeah. It was just the greatest. That's a
But
movie.
you get lost. Well, did you see the real life one going on right now?
What, with of Harold and Maude?
A 27-year-old man
I say boy,
was
it could be
just
either.
arrested for assaulting his 97-year-old girlfriend.
What? 97-year-old girlfriend?
I think she was like right around there.
Holy
What's his name?
cow.
James Franco.
Wow.
Or,
So,
what is it, Bradley Cooper on Saturday Night Live when they did the Californians was making out with Betty White?
I don't remember
You didn't
that.
see that part?
No.
So, they're doing the Californians. And they
Yeah.
get all these people to come in and they get Betty White as playing like they're having a family reunion. They said everybody said yes except for this great aunt. And they're like, oh, she's not going to reply. She died in a ballooning accident, of course. So it's Betty White, and she comes in at the end. It's like, I survived, and this guy took care of me. It happened to be Bradley Cooper.
Bradley
Oh,
Cooper.
He's like,
awesome.
she's like, I'm in love with him. He took care of me so well. And in the scene, Bradley Cooper's making out with Betty White.
well, here you go. This
Yeah.
happened. That was on the news yesterday in Chicago.
I'm going to need that guy's Geritol.
That's right.
That's my Bradley Cooper.
I
Get
ate
it?
all your chips.
You get it? You don't get it.
I just ate all
That
your
was a Guardians of the Galaxy joke.
and I'm sorry. I ate all
I
your
know.
I thought it was
I can't be
2
trusted.
bags of chips.
I can't be trusted around chips.
2 bags of chips.
I hang my head in shame.
You should.
See, like, I'm the same way with
Still
chips. I'll
on.
just eat them.
Yeah.
Or candy.
Yeah. Oh, I don't do it with candy, but I do it.
Kathleen can let a candy bar sit on like the counter for like months.
That's what he
and I
does.
walk by and I go, how come that hasn't been eaten yet? How come that hasn't been eaten yet? So like
Uh-huh.
after like a week, I just eat it. And she's like, what happened to the candy bar I put back there?
But you know what?
That's exactly what happens in our house. I go, what is wrong
Yeah,
with you? You
leaves
can't
out-
leave them sitting there.
He leaves out delicious.
Does it cause a lot of
cookies and
stress in your house? Because
chocolates.
can you tell it's a lot of stress in our house? I
Well,
have now
I don't think
figured out.
Kathleen likes that. I do that, but I'm like, it's there. I go,
No, I
you
can't.
get a week. I told her, you go, you
Yes.
get
Oh no,
7 days.
I don't get a week.
Sometimes you do.
Not typically.
I know, but it'll be like, okay,
So
we
then-
all get a cupcake, and then he doesn't eat it.
Oh my God, yeah. Drives
What's
me,
wrong with you?
Drives me nuts.
What is wrong?
Drives me
Like he
crazy.
eats
No,
it
I could
2
see
bites
saving
and
it.
then leaves
I
it
could see
out.
saving it for a day. I
Okay,
could see a
it's
day
not
or two.
a day.
No.
And they say, oh, I forgot it was in there. Then you don't deserve it.
I have.
Then
Okay.
that cupcake is now dead
Okay,
to you.
to be
because-
That
fair.
cake's not mine.
To be fair, I have said going forward, if I don't eat it, it's up for grabs. Okay? So that gets the
well,
pressure
so that's
off
what
of
just
that.
happened with the chips.
No,
It was
I
like
was
2
eating
seconds.
the chips, and you ate them out from under me.
There was a wasn't
If they
big,
had been
so
plain, I don't think I would have done. But
It was
you
too
brought
soon.
over a new flavor, and
It
then
was
that
too
made
soon.
yeah, it
Funky
was.
Fusion was good.
It was fun.
Well,
And then the spicy one, those jalapeno heaters.
No, I like the funky fusion. I like because I like garlic and all that onion flavor.
Yeah, this is gonna make me itch too. So
Yeah,
that'll be
so
fun.
it serves you right. You know what? It really does.
I see you're sporting the Superdog shirt.
Yeah, he
yeah.
is.
Okay, I have a story about this.
Wait, I want to tell him about the time we took Molly in there.
You can tell that story. Then let me tell my story
Tell
about
your
this.
story.
Because so we owned a baby store, right?
Yes.
And when that all collapsed, we had employees. It was a regular store. That all
Well,
collapsed.
not by that time. But
Right. But now flash forward, 6 months, and I'm in the car, and I'm driving to a softball game. This is the one time in my life I'm sporty. I'm going to play softball, and I've got on my Superdog shirt, and a car pulls up next to me, and it's one of our former employees. It's Kim, and she looks over. She's like, "Oh, hey!" And we're waving at each other. She goes, "Are you working at Superdog?" And I go, "No, what? Because I'm wearing the T-shirt."
Right.
She goes, "You're wearing the T-shirt. You're wearing the Superdog hat."
Oh
like
my
I was
gosh.
outfitted in
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
I.
well,
Glory and glory hanging from your.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you have a tray out your window? It's like, hey, how's it
Yeah.
going?
Like, thank God I
Oh,
didn't have on my
that's so
steak and shake
funny.
little hat.
The white hat, yeah.
Like, it was so embarrassing.
So we took Molly there when
Not
she
that it would
was
be embarrassing
The
to work there. It's
original or the
awesome.
wheeling?
to the Wheeling location when she was 3, and she likes healthy food, and so even as a
Wrong place to go.
As a
that's all I have to say.
2-year-old, she's in her car seat and she's going, grapes are healthy, cheese is healthy, and she's rattling off all these foods. And then she goes, and hot dogs are healthy. And I go, well, and she's like, what? And I said, well, technically. And she goes, you fed me junk food. I will never eat another hot dog ever again. I said, oh, no, you don't understand. I wasn't feeding you bad hot dogs. I was getting you ready for Superdog. I was just like, it's Superdog. It doesn't count.
We're building you up
She
to
was
it.
so mad at me for violating the trust. But anyway, so she's about 3-4 years old. How old? 4 years old, because we finally convinced her to eat it.
Okay. Shame. I hang my head in shame because I never ate a piece of meat ever. Unless
Right.
it was one farmer's meat. Never, ever.
Only our
ever,
farmer
ever.
Scott. She would only eat his chicken. She would only eat his eggs. I mean, she wouldn't eat in restaurant. Like, she was really particular at that age. So,
I still am. What's in that water?
yeah. So we take her. She's got to be about
Right.
4 because it finally convinced her
Right.
that she's got to taste it. And we're sitting there, and she grills the guy. So he comes to give us our food, and she starts going, "How are these raised?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "What?" Like, he makes some joke. She goes, "No, I'm serious." And she's like,
She wanted to know.
where do you have it? Like, where do you get your meat? What's it doing?
From the cooler.
So he goes and gets the owner. So the owner of Superdog
Girl,
comes
the
over.
daughter.
The guy. No,
Well,
the
no,
son.
the dad. The
Oh,
dad.
the dad came?
So
Okay.
it was Maury and Floyer, the ones who
Right.
started it, and then their son,
Their son,
one of their
okay.
sons,
Right.
is the owner, and then the daughter runs it.
So he
His
comes
daughter
over.
runs it. But it was him,
Okay.
Mark, I think.
So
or
he
something.
comes over and
Barry
he
or
says,
Piper.
"What do you want to know?" And she's like, I want to know how. And he goes, "Oh, actually, we have all our own cattle, and we do this like." And he's explaining the whole process. And he says, "Do you want to go to the kitchen? You want to go see the kitchen?" So he takes her in, and all the workers stop working.
and stare at me.
Hang on. So they turn and they're all watching, and she's cute, and she's talking. And all of a sudden, she looks up at the owner and she goes, "How come none of them are working?"
He's like, she's hired.
Like, I love you so much. He's like, you are the greatest child ever. But it was so
Now
many,
everybody gets
That's
to work.
and everybody in there was just kind of like, no. But it was so funny. So, yeah, he came out and he's like, you're the greatest
And
kid
then
ever.
that's how Molly turned into a burger of onion chips.
You said
Right.
that the guy at first made a joke about it. I went to Go-Birds at the pumpkin chopper I watched, and I said, I was probably 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, how does the pumpkin chopper work? He's like, it's a real thing. It's all magic. I'm like, how does it work? It's a real thing. It's all magic. How does it work?
So they didn't
It's a
want to tell you
secret.
the
Yeah.
truth.
You know how they do that with kids? It never worked on Molly. Like, you can't say,
She'd
like,
always be like,
oh,
no,
it's
I'm
just
serious.
magic.
I wanna know.
The hot dogs appear magically. She's like, yeah, really? Well, there's a grinder, and
Where
let's
exactly
talk
are
about
you getting your meat?
how are you feeding them, and is it this great? Like, that's just who she
It
is.
was funny. I mean,
Oh.
she
Maybe a
takes
producer or something.
We got talking, with the guy from Superdog,
Right.
about the dogs and about because I love Superdog. I
Yes.
love the flavor of the dogs and everything. And he was saying that a lot of hot dog places, they make their own. And he said what makes theirs so great is they use garlic is one of the spices they have in there. And he said a lot of places will not do that anymore because they're like, oh no, it makes it too hot or it makes it too. I don't think theirs are hot at all. It just adds all this flavor.
No.
But he said that's why Nathan's is considered better. That's why Superdogs are so good because they have garlic and they have these spices in it. And then I was like, oh man, it's got to be great when you're, when you have that supply of them when you're there. He said you have no idea because they age them. And he said we have this place and they're all hanging. And he said you walk in and he said he said you'd think it would make you sick. He goes, no, it's as good as you would think it would be.
Sure.
You walk in, you're just like, oh, I'm in heaven with these. Yep, I understand.
With their system is unbelievable.
Superdog?
Superdog. They just, they're the way they do things and
Yeah.
Well, he told a great story, too. He said that his parents, Maury and Flory, were friends with Lou Malnati.
right.
And he said, when their shifts would end, they would go over to
Because it's
Malnati's
only
kitchen.
a couple miles, 4 miles
and
away.
they'd hang out
Right.
at the pizza place, and Lou would make them a pizza, and they'd sit and hang out and have pizza, or he'd come over to their place, and they'd sit around and they'd have hot dogs. It's like, wow, how crazy.
I need
And then
to do that.
There was another story that I didn't hear it from him, but do you know that Ray Kroc approached Maury and Flory?
About franchising?
What he wanted when McDonald's first happened.
Right.
He noticed on his menu, he's got, they had the dime burgers and everything. He said, we don't have hot dogs. We can't figure out how to bring hot dogs, but Superdogs were so good.
Right.
So he approached them about making it like McDonald's Superdog.
Right.
Never.
And they refused. They said,
Right.
no, we make our own. It's this one shot. So that was the $1 billion decline, which,
Sure.
you know what, I'm good with because I don't eat at McDonald's.
I hate McDonald's.
But
Never.
I'm all about Superdog, so pretty interesting.
Well, them and their story.
Now, if McDonald's came in here and said, "Chris, we love your stuff," you'd say no.
Well, it depends on what.
Here's some money. Here's $1 billion.
$1 billion, yeah. Then
I knew he had a price.
Well,
Sell
no,
out.
for $1 billion that would be okay, but I don't think it would be like that. $1 billion's Portillo's.
Yeah.
Portillo's is $1 billion.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to go through what Dick went through. As good of a company as it was, and I worked at, it was that good.
You were at Portillo's?
I did. I worked at Portillo's for about 8 years. So
Okay.
It's an amazing company, and his story is an amazing one. But
Well, and it's national, and what's crazy is how that was, to me, that was just one of the slew of hot dog places.
sure.
Well, yeah,
And-
because being in Chicago.
But when
we
you
have
hear
access to
people coming in, they're like, oh,
Portillo's.
we want to go to Portillo's. It's
Right.
like, it's
Really?
a hot dog place.
Well, for us, but even like McDonald's here is a different thing than McDonald's in the rest of the country. McDonald's here, like up until a few years ago, it's different here than it is everywhere else.
Really?
I think. There's a lot of McDonald's in different places, but
Yeah,
McDonald's is like here.
Maine.
Yeah.
You go and it's kind of like,
this
oh,
is
it's McDonald's, but
Chicago's
it's
a food
But
town.
it's
Right.
weird. But even McDonald's in Maine, though, they had we've noticed because we've gone south and
Right.
we've gone to
Well, they have
way
some
up
different
north.
items and
They'll
stuff.
have different lobster
Right.
roll on
Well,
there.
they have some regional items, like not every place has a McRib or the things that they have. But the one thing amazing about Portillo's is he never sacrificed on making sure things were done right.
Right.
And so, and I think everything was in pretty decent to great quality.
Yeah, I agree.
The burgers were all beef. They were, to make that many, you can't have everything be fresh and there. They came
Right.
in frozen, but they were good. I eat there every day.
Yeah.
And I had no problems.
Well, the quality of the
Exactly.
dogs and everything, it's all good.
Oh yeah,
You know?
and when you sell 1,000 or thousands a day, it's real easy.
Everybody always talks about the chocolate cake. I always loved the chopped salad, but I can't have it now because of food allergies. But
Yeah, they put pasta in
I
it.
loved the chopped
Have
salad.
not take it out.
I think it's...
Let me go down. It's tell me you have an allergy. They'll take it out.
Really? I thought it was pre-made. I thought when we tried to order it that way, they said no. No?
Of course not.
We
Just
never
say,
tried.
Tell them you want a chopped salad. No, they'll make it for order. So
'Cause
you have
I miss
tell
my
them you have a
chopped
gluten
salad.
allergy or something.
I
They'll
loved
take
it.
whatever you want to
Okay.
take off.
I didn't know
They'll
that.
do it in a different bowl.
Good to know.
It's not.
For what?
As I always tell
Chopped
people,
salad.
it's not
I love.
100%, but they're going to do as good a job as they possibly can without putting it in there. So,
Awesome.
That's a hot dog place?
Good to know.
Yeah. Portillo's.
oh yeah, it's
But people talk about the chocolate cake. Everyone I know is like talks about the
Yeah, the chocolate
I can't
cake.
eat it, so I don't
It
know.
is.
anything
They all
about
talk
it.
about that.
I've never had
it is as good as that, and it's pretty
Is it a
simple.
shake? Or something? Like what do
You
they
can put it
do?
in a shake.
Yeah, they
like-
do
Yeah.
a shake. They do a
It-
chocolate
They
cake
just make a
shake.
chocolate cake. It's a double layer chocolate cake, 2 9-inch, 2 layers.
Just
Fudge
amazing.
icing. Oh, it's
When,
I will
when I
not give
said
away the secret,
Chicago's
even
a-
though you can find it on the internet. It's
Amazing.
very good.
When I said Chicago's a food town, it was actually making me think about this. What makes it unique, like we're talking about McDonald's and all that. I mean, this is fast food. This is stuff that's everywhere.
Sure.
So normally when you think food town, you wouldn't think that would be part of it. But what makes this such a great food town
Right.
is how it runs the gamut. If like when you talk to the average person, it's like I eat it. I love these great steakhouses and I love Superdog.
Right.
But they also get passionate about even McDonald's,
Oh,
like
yeah,
the certain things.
absolutely.
In other places, you don't really get that. Like when we were in Minneapolis, they didn't have hot dogs.
No.
No,
Other
we
places
had the
Yeah, I bought Bobby and Steve's Auto World. I used to get hot dogs
they'll
there.
have hot dogs are usually represented as a kid's meal, or they'll have them at like gas stations. They won't
Yep.
have them as they're not a meal. Just like Portillo's open in California. The people from Chicago knew it was a hot dog stand, but everybody else thought it was a hamburger place. Hamburgers and onion rings. So they opened up and the thing skewed. Now everybody from Chicago went, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
Portillo's
thank
is
goodness.
here. Jim Belushi's buying everybody on the planet hot dogs and burgers and all sorts of stuff. And was it Sean? Who's the guy from Will and Grace? Sean Michael
P.
Hayes?
Diddy. Sean Diddy Combs. I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
Sean Hayes, yeah.
Sean Hayes is a big Portillo's fan because he's from Buffalo Grove. I mean, he went to
Okay.
Yeah.
that store on the Heights there. He just huge, and so all of the people that are transplanted go nuts.
Yeah,
and then
sure.
everybody else is like, I'll have a hamburger on the cheeseburger. I'm onion rings.
No.
But they're open in Phoenix. And
Although I
it's
do
the
have to
same
say,
way.
there was a point when I did have every single item on the Superdog menu. So I did
Yes.
go to the Whoopski Dog. I did
Whoopsie
go.
Dog?
Yeah,
to
we
the,
have tried, but now see, we can't with all the food allergies.
Right.
because
The
The
double
onion
burger
chips
there
were
was
always our
amazing.
favorite.
Oh,
Those
the
onion
onion
vegetables.
chips.
The vegetables. are
Yeah,
great,
we
too.
had those too. Yeah.
'Cause they
Yeah.
do like the little corn.
Yep. Oh, the baby
But we
corn.
can't,
Baby
we
corn.
can't do
Oh.
those now. We have to. So
Yeah,
it's hot dog.
I'll be
without
able to eat them.
anything.
When you
Okay.
open your second restaurant, when you open the Transporter, the Star Trek themed
That's
one,
right.
you're going to deep fry everything. That's going to be your niche. You're going to deep fry baby corn. You're
That's
going
right.
to deep fry. I'm
We'll
telling
do
you
it.
right
I'm in.
now.
I'll do it.
All
We
right,
gotta find gluten-free deep fry.
we will. There's no reason we can't.
It's easy to find the batter that can
Yeah,
do
it
that. I
is.
mean, you can have
I
corn,
make
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I couldn't before, but
Is
I
that the
can.
name? Is the Transporter going to be the name?
Or
Hey,
holodeck.
you're
Holodeck.
ruining it. Someone's gonna steal it out from under.
I doubt it. That means somebody's listening to this.
Trademark.
Trademark. Transporter. Trademark.
Yeah, everything we say has a TM after it.
See ya.
So,
Every single word.
yeah.
This is
Just a
us
big
doing the
change.
poor man's trademark.
That's right. Exactly. We came up with that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you hear
On
this?
February
It's dated,
26th.
so
Right.
absolutely. So
So
Yeah.
instead of like sandwiches and coffee, it'll be deep fried everything. Because that's so Star Trek.
Okay,
Yes.
so Chris,
That'd
one of
be
my
good.
ideas at one point was to have a restaurant called the Filling Station, and it's only fillings. Chicken
fillings?
pot pie
Yeah.
filling.
Yeah, everything is just fillings.
Pie fill. It's no crust. It's just filling.
But wouldn't you have crust? Like you could get crust in the bottom of your thing, so you can like.
Then it wouldn't be filling.
Well, no,
please,
but you
please
add the
edit this out if
fillings.
it's bad. It's called Walmart canned goods section.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dinty
No.
Moore. It's the
Called-
Dinty Moore
it's
station.
called the Filling Station.
Yeah.
The Filling.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you.
think
Because
that-
it's all filling.
Since we're throwing
I
out
love
food
chicken.
ideas, I'm going to throw mine out there.
I'm making that for dinner tomorrow
Oh,
night.
wow.
I'm throwing mine out there, which is going to happen, and it's genius. I'm gonna
Mine's
just
not
take credit.
genius, and it's not going to
Mine
happen.
is
But I
genius.
just like
I think
to
it's
talk
actually
about
really
it.
good. So.
Mine's
My
called the
filling
Cuppy Cake.
station. Oh, the
What?
Cuppy Cake. Okay.
Okay, do you know what
There we
the
go.
what is the
Once
name
again,
of that?
February 26th,
What is
2015.
what is the name that inspired it? What's that cake? There's
The
a cake.
the Tripumple.
Tripumple. Do you know what that is?
My sister made it.
Okay,
You take a cake.
it's
It's
cake.
a turducken, but it's a cake. So
No,
it's
it's
kind of.
pie and
So
cake.
what you do is you
my
bake
friend is going to
3
hate you
pies,
because he wanted to do that too.
You
Like
take
do an
3
apple and
pies.
blueberry pie on
Yes.
top with it.
Well,
yeah.
no, she
and then
did.
you
she
put it
did.
in a cake batter and bake it as
So
a
it's
cake.
3
And when
layers.
you cut it,
Okay.
it's got the layers.
Let me tell her more.
There's
okay.
a video, a really
Hang
funny
on.
video of the
So
Tripumple.
my
My friend's
sister
gonna hate
did.
you,
So
so
let's
you
say
know
you
that.
take a spice cake and you put an entire apple pie in
the
the
middle.
center of it, and then you bake it. Then you take a German chocolate cake and you put a cherry pie in the center
And you
of
put
it.
it on top of it and you
And
frost
then you
it.
fill it up. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you put 'em- you
take,
stack
no,
'em
no,
up.
there's 3. And then you take like
So there's
cherry,
6 different
like
flavors.
pumpkin, apple, cherry, pumpkin,
or,
apple.
yeah,
Pumpkin.
but I'm saying you can do whatever you want.
So you can take a Twinkie and shove it in like a
Yeah.
apple. Can you make a hostess
We
version?
dare not speak its name.
We don't, because that would make me cross.
So
But anyway.
okay, so I was inspired by this, and I came up with the cuppy cake, which is you know those presses that people use when you make sandwiches when you're camping.
Yes,
that press
they're
thing,
the
and you-
popovers.
The popover thing. Okay,
They're
you use
they're
that.
metal.
You use that popover thing, and you make like a cherry pie in it because you can make little cherry pies, kind of like the pockets. Remember the Hostess pocket
Right.
pies? Okay, it's kind of like that, but it's that little round shape.
Right.
You take that, you make your little cherry pie or your little lemon pie or your little whatever
Put that
pie,
in a cupcake.
and you put it in a cupcake, and you call it
A cup.
a cuppy
Cup
cake.
pie.
Cup pie cake, but it's cuppy cake.
Cup pie.
If I call it a KUPPI.
I need to
Imagine,
do that.
imagine a little like
you
a
can't
lemon.
say
Cuppy
Let's-
caca. What?
Imagine a lemon pie in a chocolate cupcake with some killer frosting on top. That would be.
So you
Wrapped
have
in
the
bacon.
crust, though.
Yeah.
See, that's why I like the filling
But
stage,
the
because I don't
crust
want
is
the
very,
crust.
the crust inside is very flaky, thin crust. So you get the impression of the crust, but it's not like eating pie. Please, the cuppy cake is genius.
I
It's
don't
going to
think
happen.
so.
I
I think
need
that
that.
the cake would fall
I'm going to be like
off.
Famous Amos. My picture on there with cuppy cakes.
I think if you tried to bite into it, the
And every
cake
amount
would
of Mary-
fall off because you've got the crust. It
No,
wouldn't work.
that's because you didn't make it right.
And then you've got
That's
the
'cause you don't know how
crust.
to
It's
make
like
it.
too much. The texture would throw off your.
No,
I
How
don't
dare
think
you,
it would
woman.
work. I dare you guys to try it.
you haven't tried. You didn't try the Trapumple,
Taste tester.
which was amazing.
What?
You didn't eat the Trapumple.
No,
I
because
did.
I would have died.
I
I
had
am so
a,
sorry
I
that I
had
can't
a
eat
minor
desserts.
heart attack afterwards.
No, I mean literally, like
but
I.
a little nitroglycerin and I was all good.
I'm
A
a
couple
little.
shots.
A couple of yeah, it was delicious, and the cuppy cake.
So it was
brilliant.
3. It was like a spice cake. A
It was
German
3
chocolate cake.
cakes,
Yes.
With
and then
pies in it.
frosted
Yes.
it with,
3
and there was
pies.
an entire
But
pie
there's
in the
a
center of each
video.
one.
If you type in Trapumple, there's a guy who makes this, and he does it in like an old 50s oven. He's very funny. It's a great video, and the whole time you're watching, you're like, "This is ridiculous." By the end, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I want to eat that." And I did.
A friend of mine came up with an idea of baked spaghetti in a bread bowl, which I thought was
Yep.
a good idea. But
I like it.
I think it's a good idea. I was like, okay, that's great. And then he was telling me about how you could do a pie on top of a pie. So like do an apple pie with a blueberry pie or a cake with a pie. That's what he did. But I don't know if he ever saw
He's
that.
stacking, but this is inside
No, this is truly
because it's kind of like
a whole cake,
The cuppy
Right, I
cake
understand.
is
I think
kind
we-
of like
and it's like
Well, so
that
you-
tall.
we
well,
talked about Hostess. Think about the
Well,
what
it
were
would be
the
like
the ding dongs or the ho-hos. What was the one that was the cupcake?
Those,
crust.
they were so gross.
What was that?
No,
they weren't.
well,
How
there's
dare you.
ding dongs that are like.
No, the pie
The
one.
ding dong is the no. The
Well,
ding
there's a
dong.
there's a cupcake one
So imagine if it was that
with an apple pie in it.
with a little tiny apple pie in the middle.
That sounds gross.
A little tiny, but it's not like chunky apple.
Would we dip the chocolate?
And you dip it in chocolate, and then you deep fry it,
Okay.
and then
No, I think if you made a cup that with a cupcake in it, frosted it, and then dipped it in chocolate. It's like a case.
You
of
guys try it. I can't eat it because I'm allergic to chocolate.
what are we going to call
You
this
guys-
restaurant? Just cuppy cake, or
I'm eating that.
this one will be called
Why are you so
obese. It's
weird?
just called obese.
obese.
It's called obese.
Obese. Just
Obese.
Diabetes. The
because the heart attack
Diabetes
burger is
Cafe.
gone. Whatever that place is. That was
Which one?
heart attack burger.
Which one is that?
That's like the. It's in Phoenix, and it's like a.
It was
5,000
actually called that?
It's like a 5,000 calorie burger.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh my
3 pounds of
gosh.
meat, bacon, fries. It's
You ever hear of the Fool's Gold? You know what that is?
Elvis's.
Elvis
peanut
actually
butter.
flew to Denver to get
No.
the Fool's Bowl. It's a loaf of bread, and you hollow out the bread, or somewhat.
Right.
It's a jar of peanut butter, a jar of jelly, and a pound of bacon.
I would need
That's a
pickles
Fool's
and then
Gold.
I'm in.
That's a Fool's Gold.
It just needs some pickles on there.
And I actually knew a guy that played with Elvis, and he said that he was out at Elvis's place. They were all hanging out. He said, "Yeah, Elvis was like they were joking around. They were playing music." And he said, like late at night, Elvis was like, "You know what we should do, man? We should go to Dallas or go to
Do they ever
Denver."
make one?
Like they
Let's just make one. It's not
Yeah,
that
it
hard.
would not be hard.
yeah,
to
but when
make.
you're Elvis, we'll just jump on a plane and go. Personally, I think that's a long time.
I want
away.
some French toast. Yeah, I'll make some. No, we're going to go to France.
Right.
We
Yeah,
have some French-
exactly.
Right.
We go to Paris and have French toast. Okay, sure.
Maybe it's the high altitude that makes it taste better. Although I have a feeling he
Well,
was
it's
at a
kind
high
of like your
altitude most of the
sriracha
time.
mayo. I could make it at home, but it's not going to taste like your sriracha mayo. So what? I have to go to the source. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
There is some truth to that because it doesn't taste the same. It just
It's
doesn't
like
for whatever
pizza,
reason.
thin crust pizza cut in triangles.
Versus squares.
No way.
Yeah.
When we moved to Minneapolis, I was like, "You seriously are going to call every pizza
We did.
place
I had
until
to
you
call.
find me one that will do thin
You want to
crust
hear
in
the craziest
squares?"
part of that? Now, there wasn't a lot of great pizza there at the time.
Right.
She made me call around, and like we even ordered Pizza Hut at one point.
We were
that,
so desperate
That tells you how
for
desperate we were
pizza.
for pizza.
Right.
And we find this place. It's a country bar that makes pizza.
It's called Delano's. Let's
Yes,
plug
it's
'em
called the
right
Lonos.
here.
They're like, yeah, we'll cut it in squares for you. What do we care? We're like, okay, great. So we get this pizza. It was actually
It was so good.
really
It was
good
so
pizza.
good.
I agree.
But when
That's a
I
better
went in there, I started
pizza.
talking
It
about
tastes
pizza with them.
It tastes totally different if you eat it in
But when I
What's
was
different
talking about
is a
pizza with them,
different pizza.
I
they
like
didn't.
it triangle.
They were just like, "Oh yeah, we just make this pizza." Like they didn't. Like I'm sitting here getting all passionate about
Yeah,
it. They're just
I
like,
want
"No, this is
to
just
eat.
what our pizza's like," and "Oh yeah, we make sauce." Like they didn't
Yeah.
care.
No, it was so
And I'm like,
good.
"You guys don't understand. There's no pizza here."
It was so
Or like
good.
the simplest pizza, like the Nick's. What's the place in Diamond Lake? Bill's Pizza. You know, there's like a whole bunch of them that are up and down the Fox River.
Yeah, right.
They all have basically the same recipe because they're all buddies and they all said, "Let's do pizza and we can
Right.
make a lot of money."
And
It's
they do.
very, very simple.
Yeah.
It's just good ingredients and it's good
Yep.
pizza. That's what it is. It's not hard. People get like crazy about pizza. It's like it's easy.
Well,
I
see, we
I
have
was
to change the
working-
subject now because we can't have tomato, cheese, or gluten.
I was
So
working
pizza's pretty much
We both
no
worked for
longer
a
in our
caterer.
lives forever.
for a while, and I was working with him the one night, and we were talking about how to make money in the kitchen on the off times because Saturday nights, Saturday by 1:00, kitchen's empty.
Because all your events are
all the events are out. So we were talking about it, and we came up with this idea called Saturday Night Pizza, where you could order pizza from us there, and that was the idea. We're just like, the way we do this is just good ingredients. Just that's it. Because
Right.
the guy who owned this, Byron, was a 5-star gourmet,
Uh-huh.
and he knew, like, you want to make a salt, you get good ingredients for the salts. You don't just buy whatever. I mean, we're just talking rubs. He knew you get the good ingredients, and guess what? It elevates everything
Sure,
you do.
absolutely.
He owned a restaurant that served turkey at the Mall of America, and 2 doors down from him was Burger King. And Burger King, of course, I mean, this is Mall of America, so you imagine its lines. He had
Marjorie wants
lines,
to kill her on that.
was almost killing that Burger King. And he said, it's because I used
These are all the
good
names of
quality
them.
turkey,
Right.
and I made this rub out of good stuff. And he said people went, it was like addictive. Well, it's because you were using good stuff instead of the garbage.
Absolutely.
It's why I'm addicted to your coffee here. That Metropolis coffee, it's
It's really good.
quite good.
Well, I think that's important because a lot of people start out, especially in these kind of businesses, like, I'm going to do the best, and then it becomes a matter of money versus
Right.
how much you can charge because things.
Yeah, you gotta figure out where your
expensive things
cutting
are
point
expensive.
is.
Right.
Well, but it's not going to be for me because I will dedicate myself to be quality because I think that's more important.
Absolutely.
But
And
it
people
doesn't.
will pay.
They will. They should.
I just read an article about this, about pricing and all that, and they were saying, a lot of people chase that tiger of, well, I might make more if I lower my price by $1, but then you got to sacrifice quality.
Sure.
And they said, if you stop chasing that, and you say, look, I'm going to charge a fair price, but I'm going
Right.
to serve good stuff.
Sure.
People will pay the extra for the good stuff.
They will. The way it was always explained to me, and I thought it was really good, this consultant that I talked to, there's a price range that people have to spend money.
Right.
And it's different for everybody, and it depends on the economy and all that stuff, but you want to be somewhere in that range, and you want to be there so if it goes down a little bit, you're still in the range, or if it
Yep.
goes up, you want to be in the middle, maybe a little bit towards the top, to give yourself some wiggle room, because when you're on a budget, you have X amount of money,
Yep.
and you may spend a little bit more to go to a nicer place.
Yep.
And maybe go a little bit less, but you're going to go to someplace nice, as opposed to that. So, like, when you're high, you get bumped out because people can't spend it.
Right.
And that changes. I mean, lunch isn't cheap here.
Right.
But it's not out of the norm for any decent place that you go to.
Well, and when
Absolutely.
you look at
It's not
this
the
place,
$5 sandwich, but
no, but the quality of the food is really
Right.
good. And I mean, not to pimp you or anything, but the reality is, like, I look at your prices. I look at like the Gobbler, let's say.
sure.
I know what that sandwich is, and I know how good it is, and that price seems spot on to me.
Sure.
And you make that stuff,
Right.
you know. And
Yeah.
you do, I mean, it's like
You're
you
paying
can-
for that, and I
you
think
can
that's why you're
taste
doing
it.
so well.
You can
Well,
tell
it
the
is. It's
difference.
not there. I mean, you know,
It's not processed.
I'm not making cranberry sauce, sorry. But
Right.
that would be just a condiment. But when I try to use good quality ingredients and good quality, whether it's mayonnaise or bread, I'd say I'm not buying Wonder Bread because Wonder Bread's fine, but I'm not buying,
What are you
It's
afraid
not
they're going to
fine.
sue you?
No, but I'm just saying I'm not buying
Truly, it's
like a
not
generic white bread or a little bit more that you would consider just a plain bread. I'm buying something that's a little bit more upscale. And
Right.
You're
It,
not
it
quite
does. Well, it does
artisanal,
cost more. Well,
but
you
it's-
know what? A loaf of bread that's $2, mine are $5.
Right. Yeah.
So 2 slices of bread for your sandwich costs 50 cents. And
right.
you have to charge appropriately. You understand?
Right.
There's
Yeah,
markup.
absolutely.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
there's a
And
reason why.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, you didn't sell a $5 pillow for $5. You sold it for 10 or 20.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Because you do
Absolutely.
have to pay, pay for.
All right. I'm going into a food coma now. I think we've talked out the food.
Yeah.
What are we calling it? The cupcake cake?
Cupcake. Yes. So now we're going to develop that. Do you bake?
I do.
All right. Let's figure it out.
You guys.
I gotta try to figure out how to
I
make a
can't
little pie.
taste it though. You got. We'll have to make one that I can have.
Gluten-free
I will
cupcake.
eat it.
It has to be gluten-free, dairy-free. I can't have cane sugar or chocolate.
No, but you make those
Without breaking out in
that
hives.
chocolate cake that we can eat.
So I'm going to be a challenge.
Nah.
Mom.
You make that
can
chocolate cake,
figure it
that's
out.
awesome. We can make a cherry filling or something. See, that's just it. It's not just putting a cherry filling inside. It's got that little bit of crust inside.
Yeah, it's got to have the crust. So.
And
It's
that
got to have
makes
to be
the
a really
whole
thin,
thing.
like a really flaky thin crust that's not
I
going to
mean,
be gross.
what's the difference? People make cakes out of cupcakes now. Like, that's become a thing.
Sure, absolutely.
What's the difference? It's
Well-
just taking another idea and just
Now, if you did like a key lime with the graham cracker crust,
dare not say
then
this
I
name.
would. Then
I'm
I would be all
so
over
in.
that.
Can you imagine?
Because a
key lime
graham cracker inside of a cake. Would
Oh my!
Whatever. What's the difference?
Oh, there's a difference.
Here's
I
what
don't
the
know.
difference
What
is.
do I
I'm
know?
starting to drool.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's something's going bad
You just have to
here.
be able to, I guess, cover it all and get it in there. I mean, but you can make a little key lime
that's
tart
there.
and just pop it right in the.
See, that's I don't want to say it, but that's what it is. It's really just a tart, just a little tart
Right.
inside the cupcake. But it's better to think of it as a little pie.
Pie as a tart, just a little different. No topping. That's pretty much the only difference.
Yeah.
If
So
you
you
wanna get
want it
technical.
to be a tart. You want it to be encased
Yeah, it's
in crust.
encased. It's encased.
But
So
you
it's
could
like-
make you could make a tart and just like make a
But
little
they call those
tartlet and put
Hostess
it in.
things a pie. It's the same thing. It's
No,
a pie.
no, it's
that
called
crust.
like a hand pie where you can hold it in your hand.
I don't
But
know what the technical.
Wasn't that
term
in
is.
Revenge of the Nerds? Hand pie?
but that's a thing. It's a thing. It's a
Pie.
British term.
Hand
But
pie.
but it's
Go even further. No more Yankee my wanky. Down to
oh yeah.
That was on the other day. I was like,
Oh, 16 candles.
so
Long
gotta-
duck dong.
I could run that in 30 seconds flat. Flat?
bad.
Yeah.
Another movie could be made.
No.
Oh,
No.
brilliant.
And so many
So
different-
brilliant.
Yeah, she's not going to see that one for a little while.
Yeah,
That's
we were
for
just
sure.
talking about that. I was like, wow, how did we survive? Like, when you think of what we watched as kids and everything, it was like,
And that
we
was,
tried watching
and that was
Doogie
embraced
Howser.
as like the great. I mean, 60 Candles was huge.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Did Hughes do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's John
But
Hughes.
let's
It's-
face it, we were in high school when we saw those.
No, but the kids I babysit for, there was one boy who's 3 years old who used to watch that movie, and I'd be like, really, you want me to sit here awkwardly
that
next
was-
to him and watch this movie?
A lot of it was kind of innocuous for the time.
Yeah.
Right,
would
but that's
think-
my point. It's like we've gone so far the other direction that is I can't watch. I tried to watch Doogie Howser with her the other day, and the whole show was about. I can't say 'cause she's sitting
Yes.
here. But okay, but it was so. I had to turn it off after like
Right.
2 minutes. I went, what the heck?
And then
is
we were watching
this?
Three's Company with her. And,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
kidding.
that's always inappropriate.
Don Knotts or Norman Fell.
Don Knotts, oh lordy.
Please, it's
Norman
all about the
Fell,
fell.
man. Norman Fell.
Although I do love Don Knotts.
All right,
Who doesn't?
And
Yeah.
Chrissy Lee.
Chrissy Lee. Yeah.
Chrissy Snow.
Yeah, but then
Chrissy left, and then Chrissy Lee came.
right,
The
It was like Curly,
the other
Curly
blonde.
Joe.
like Curly Joe.
Yeah.
Which one would be Shemp then?
Janet.
Yeah,
Oh,
Janet's Shemp.
Well, no, because
No, she's Curly, or she's Larry.
Shemp was in place of Curly. Was it Shemp?
Oh, so that
Shemp
would
was-
be
was
whoever
Curly, then
replaced
Shemp, and then
John
Curly
Ritter.
Yeah.
No, I think they stopped it with John Ritter, didn't they?
Yeah.
Or did
Yeah.
they replace?
No,
did
they
they
didn't
get Larry,
replace
his friend Larry?
No, he got married. That was when the series went on. He got married, and they did a season of him with
Oh, the
And
big,
Ted-
with his
Ted
bar.
McGinley
What
played-
was that bar called?
the Regal Beagle.
Beagle.
Yeah.
A shift to the Regal Beagle.
Okay, there's your third restaurant.
The Regal Beagle.
The Regal Beagle.
Worst name.
And that's when everything fails.
Because I want to think about dog while I'm eating.
Yeah.
It's an English pub.
Yeah, the
don't
Regal
care.
Beagle.
70s.
It was.
That's right.
Dog.
The whole,
If it was
the
in
whole
Chicago, it
scale
would've
that a man was living with two girls in
J.J.
an
Beagles
apartment.
would be if it was
Can you
Chicago,
hit
because they always did that, you know. Always had the initials. Oh, somebody's coming in with a microphone.
Yeah, Tanner's doing a thing for some Elgin Fringe commercial, so maybe you can, I don't know. He just texted me, he's like, can I come over? I'm like, sure.
Who's Tanner?
Melvin,
He's the kid
He
from
was from
Benny's
Side
Bears.
Oh dear.
I love that kid.
All right. Well, let's wrap up.
what's up, man? Okay.
It's already wrapped
So-
up. We don't really wrap this up.
Oh, you don't?
We're
Oh,
done.
fine.
We just turned off the camera and we're good. So.
Yep.
Sorry, we're finishing podcasting. So.
We're done.
We're all good. So.